Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another day of the StarsWar 11 qualifiers. Welcome to day number 1 of the Asia Closed Qualifier. I'm, of course, Showside VIP, and with me, I'm joined by the lovely people in the chat, by my plushies, and by these amazing players as well. It's great to be back here. It's great to be back with the clean feed as well, and this is the bracket before us. Oh boy, quickly just getting a closer look here. We have Firefly versus Silky, Rex versus Lemon, Cyan versus Kingslayer, Coffee versus Nice. This is your lineup of the top 8 players in all of Asia, not including Oliveira, as Oliveira is invited. Oliveira, as he is the reigning world champion, has been invited to the main event already. It's really up to all these other players to join him there. There's one seating, there's one spot. There's one spot to qualify for. Basically, the champion, the best amongst all these players, will make it into the main event, which will be taking place in China at an offline studio, an offline stadium setup. Not too sure where it's going to be, but it's going to be an offline event. So again, the StarsWar 11 is going to pop off, and here we are with the first of many closed qualifiers. If you're curious, we're going to have the closed qualifier for the Asia region, followed by Korea, followed by Europa and Americas as well. The closed qualifiers are going to be upon us. For the past couple of weeks, we have been covering the open qualifiers, so I recommend checking out the VODs, as you would have seen the setup here for this. You would have seen all the players just grow their way and really just trudge their way through the trenches to make it to this stage, to this point. And now that they've made it to the closed qualifier, at least they will, for the most part, be walking away. I say for the most part, actually. I was going to say they're in the money. Not yet. Top 4. We have 8 players, and top 4 do get in that money, do get a payout. And it's single elimination. Single elim. Tonight, we're going to have the quarterfinals, all best of 3s. Tomorrow will be the best of 5s, the semifinals. And then the day after that will be the grand finals itself. Los Gran Finales, papi. Los Gran Finales. Let's go. Oh my god. So yeah, once we wrap up with this region, we have the following regions thereafter as well. And going over some of these players, definitely players to keep an eye out for. There's a lot of hype around Firefly. There's a lot of hype around Firefly, of course. He's an amazing player. He has been on the rise for quite some time. Firefly is the one to keep an eye out for. Outside of that, though, who else can really contest against him? Well, when it comes to the Chinese region, there are a lot of really strong Protoss players, not just Firefly, there's also Cyan as well. And I would have said Jeshi. I should quickly go over that as well. There was an upset, I say an upset, there was a really brutal result where Jeshi actually went up against Silky in the first round of the open qualifier. Only one could make it through. Only one of those players could advance on. Jeshi failed to qualify here for the closed qualifier, which is a pretty big result, because he's one of the best Protosses in all of China. Doesn't make it through. Silky made it through instead. Silky being the best Zerg player in China. So, yeah, it's kind of brutal now that I think about it, that Firefly and Silky are facing off for the first round. That's so sad. Firefly and Silky, this could be a finals match, to be honest. Like, for the seeding to be in such a way is such a shame. So yeah, Firefly and Silky, arguably the best Protoss and Zerg player in all of China, are facing off in the first round in a best of 3. This could go either way. I'll be honest, this could go either way. I was just hyping up Firefly. I was like, yo, Firefly, you know, he's been popping off, he's been joining new teams. He's on a Korean team right now, you know, he's getting pumped up. He went to IEM Katowice, one of the few from his region to travel and make it to IEM. But he's up against Silky. And if you're unfamiliar with Silky, again, he isn't just the best Zerg player in all of China, but he's a very aggressive player. Very aggressive, very mid-game oriented. So is Firefly, so I expect fireworks. I expect fireworks to really pop off and to really take off, and I don't expect this to be a long series, I'll be honest. I don't expect this to be long. Scrolling down, we have Rex versus Lemon. We have the 2 players of Taiwan, the best Zerg player and the best Protoss. Oh, my apologies, sorry, I forgot about Nice. The best Zerg player, the best random player in all of Taiwan. Lemon, he's been race switching over the years. He's been at competitive levels with Terran, Zerg, and now Protoss. Lemon, depending on the year, he does pick a different race, and now he is settled on Protoss. And I would say that Lemon has a bit of a mountain to climb, but he looked pretty impressive in the qualifiers. On top of that, I spoke about this before, but Rex is not a retired player, but he's a returning player. He's been casting a lot recently. You know, he's semi-retired for a while. He recently came back. Rex is not in full form as much as he was in the past, but now is the time. Now is the time for the practice to really come in and pay off, and I want to believe that Rex has been putting in the hours to compete and to actually make a deep run as well. So that's a little bit harder to call. Like, my heart says Rex, my head kind of says Lemon there, is what I will say when it comes to Rex and Lemon and how they compare to each other. Match 3, Cyan versus Kingslayer. Cyan, I would say he's top 3 Protoss in China. When I think of the top 3 Protoss, I think Firefly, Cyan, and Jeshi in that order. I would put Cyan over Jeshi, and he's going to be another player to make a deep run. We've seen him take down Oliveira in the past, but here we go. We're getting into our picks and bans, and we have Alcyone, Equilibrium, Radicization, Stellaris, Golden Aura, Hecate, all vetoed here throughout the course of this process. And we have come down to Oceanborn, Hardlead, and Sight Delta. Oh boy, a shout out to SCBoy, a shout out to all the lovely sponsors involved as well, Doyu, Aegon, and many others that I'm unfamiliar with. But yeah, it's great to see that they've come together for this event. The overlays are looking beautiful, looking fly. I'm ready for it. And as a reminder, the the main event is going to be offline. I'm not sure if we have player camps. We're about to find out. I'm uncertain if we have player cams for the qualifiers, so we'll see if we get into that or not. We'll see if we can see our lovely pretty faces of our players here soon as well. I am excited. The vetoes, they look pretty standard here. Alcyone, Equilibrium, Radicization, Stellaris, these are some of the more vetoed maps out there. Alcyone is very macro oriented, but there's the goal base, and against a player like Silky, for Firefly to get rid of Alcyone makes sense. Get rid of that gold base. You can rush into it. There are a lot of nasty all-ins with that gold, so we have eliminated that from the variables from the entire series here. Same can be said for some of these other maps as well, like Equilibrium, for example. Radicization was vetoed, and yeah, with the maps that are left, they're quite small actually. Rush distance by ground is quite short on both Oceanborn and Hardlead, which is why I'm expecting aggression there, especially from Silky. I feel like on Sight Delta, our Protoss player Firefly can spread his wings a little bit more on Sight Delta. But Hardlead and Oceanborn, I've definitely got my eyes on the Zerg. And here we go, we have cams! Let's go! I was not certain we would, but we do have cams. Vámonos, papi, vámonos. Let's go. We see Firefly and Silky before us. I'm a little bit confused because I have not seen Silky above water in a long time. If you've been watching WTL, Silky's always under the sea. He's like Silky, he's always like deep on the ocean floor, you know, just like in his submersible or in his element. No longer though. Now he's a fish out of water. And hopefully in this kind of new terrain, he's able to breathe freely and fight well. Best of luck. Best of luck to Silky. I haven't seen a Silky that isn't wet in a long time. I'm used to seeing him wet. I'm getting the predictions ready. Quarterfinals. I'm getting the predictions ready, papi. Un momento, un momento. If you're in the chat, Gamba will soon be on just the way you like it. The Gamba, papi, the Gamba. I'll open up the gambling, the predictions, once we do have our first game ready. So we'll be set up for that shortly. Do not worry. Just setting up the players as well. My apologies, I forgot to set up the players. Oh, the head-to-head, let's go. The head-to-head is here, loving the New Jersey, and here we go, diving into game number 1 in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn. We have, for his new team offside, Firefly. And in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent, we have Silky, the best Zerg player in all of China. Let's go. Let us go. And if you are in the chat, predictions are now open. So you can place your bets on who you believe will advance on here in this best of 3. As a reminder, best of 3, not a best of 5. So bear that in mind when it does come to your predictions. Make sure you're able to again, use that to make a more educated decision here on where you want to place your channel points. As we're getting into this story, I'm just quickly setting up. I don't actually need to do this. What am I doing? Okay, we're good. We're good to go. Just keep my eye on anyone. Keeping my eye on everyone, and here we go. So, for the time being, we do have some standard openers. It is going to be a Hatch Gas pull out of Silky, standard opener from our Zerg player. Likewise, a Gate Expand into Cybercore from Firefly. So, in the early game, nothing crazy is going on yet. I don't expect many things to be too crazy in the early game, especially on Oceanborn. On Hardlead, we could see Silky go for a Ling Flood. He could go for a Bane Bust. That is definitely something that I'll keep my eye out for when it comes to Silky. But for now, everything's as it should be. For now. Press in chat. Predictions open. Beautiful. Posting in the chat, making sure everything is good. Again, this is still our first day of closed qualifiers, so just making sure that everything is as smooth as it can be as we settle into our game. Thankfully, nothing too crazy happening yet for the time being. Overlord Scout is coming in just to get eyes on the opener, just to make sure it's not a 2-gate opener, for example, which can be quite frustrating to deal with. But again, standard opener from our Protoss. Silky is fully aware of that as well, as we are pulling back. The color scheme is a little bit interesting to me. I don't know if I like it. Seeing instead of the standard like black text on white for the score, it's like yellowish, greenish. Yeah, my eyes are still adjusting. I'm not gonna lie. My brain is still trying to contain itself, as we do see our tech of choice going to be a Stargate open out of Firefly. Standard tech so far going to be a Stargate in towards a third base. Meanwhile, Silky is making an extra pair of Lings. Quite a decent amount of them here. He's making an extra pair of 6 Lings to help defend. I'm saying help defend for now, but we'll see if we double down and commit a little bit harder. Oh. We'll see if we do double down and commit. Quickly just double checking something just to make sure. I know our internet speeds are a little bit shaky here, so making sure that everything's okay. There we go. As Lings are going to be moving out towards the right-hand side. Likewise, we do have our Adepts and Oracles moving in towards the left, looking to threaten the bases here of Silky. Looking to threaten, and we do not quite commit to the shade, not yet. As Adepts say, shade into the main base. They're going to get a couple of drone kills here. 3 drones going to be going down in the main. Pretty good damage so far with these initial Adepts, but only 3 workers as the Adepts are going to be shut down. Behind this, we're just going to be happily droning. So again, it does look like Silky only made a handful of defensive Lings. Wasn't looking to be too aggressive, and he's just droning up from here. Meanwhile, across the map, it is going to be the Oracle commitment, as to be expected by Firefly. So far, nothing crazy from our Protoss. It's just going to be triple Oracle into a third base. There's that third Oracle on the way as we speak, and this is going to be leading into standard play from Firefly, at least initially. Now, when it comes to the follow-up tech, that is what I'm going to be paying attention to. Whether we go for charge, +1, faster robo, there are just other forms of tech that we can make use of, so I'm going to be keeping my eye out for that. I'm going to be keeping my eye out. Hold on, just making sure. Okay, just make sure everything's as it should. We're going to be moving out with a handful of Adepts. It is going to be 5 Adepts in total on the right-hand side. Meanwhile, we have 2 Oracles maneuvering through the center as well. And do we commit? We do commit to the shade. Yeah, we're going to get a handful of Lings here. Queens are trying to keep up, but we do end up shading into the main. So far, no economic damage done yet, but emphasis on yet, because we are getting some drone kills. Finally, 2 workers go down. We get a 3rd worker. Adept so far, they are zoned away by the Queens. 3 drones is okay, but we're still looking for more damage from the side of Firefly. We're still looking for more damage. Adept say shade in towards that 3rd base. Lings, they are there to meet them. And I'm uncertain if the latency is on our end or on the clean feed's end, is my problem. So we're going to get 6 drone kills in total. We're going to get a couple more in the main base as well. Good damage dealt here by Firefly. Good damage dealt as we get 8 kills in total, 11 sorry in total, alongside 22 lings. From here, oracles are going to back off as we head in towards the top left. And now we're getting into our follow-up, and this is what I was concerned about. I spoke about how usually Firefly thrives in the mid-game. This is what I meant. We have a Temple Archives on the way, a Gateway Explosion. I believe that's going to be 8 gates in total, +1 in charge, not blink. Firefly does intend on being more aggressive earlier, moving out with his Zealots, and being in the face of his opponents. Silky, after sustaining quite a bit of losses, is he going to be ready for this? We need Roaches, we need Banelings to defend. We're working on +1 melee, working on a small Roach army. Ooh, as we're bleeding out a couple more lings. Good cleanup there by Firefly. Does take down some of those lings. Behind this, we do have Archons morphing in. Again, it is going to be a Chargeal Archon push, and it's going to hit like a truck. Now, thankfully, Silky isn't droning. Silky, he's cutting workers at 3 bases. Actually, less than 3 bases at 62 drones. I spoke earlier that Silky also is typically an aggressive player, and things are going to be popping off here in the mid-game. This is what I meant. As Silky is intentionally not droning, he's building up an army. Will he have enough, though, to defend as Zealots are pushing in? Zealots are moving in towards that natural. At the same time, Silky going for a Ling counterattack. There are Roaches to defend against this. Okay, Lings, they get onto the 4th base. Firefly building himself up. Is going to be supply blocking Silky. The cancel! Ooh, that is not a cancel. That's going to be a kill on the Nexus. 400 minerals down the drain. A big loss there for Firefly. Now he has to commit a little bit harder, but he does not have a prism with his army. Doesn't have a prism. He has to respect the Roaches, has to back off. Again, Silky has not been droning. He's still making more lings, more Roaches. And we do see Firefly transitioning. Okay, it looks like he has recognized he cannot break his opponent. And now Firefly is in a rough position because his 4th was killed. He has to rebuild his 4th, get into his 2nd Robo, the Bay, Disruptor or Colossus production, +2, Blink. All of what I just mentioned just started. Until it all kicks in, Firefly is going to be in a bit of trouble. He's going to be vulnerable. And until then, Silky still has barely droned. He's droned up to 67, which is 3 base saturation. He's still making more Roaches, more Lings. We have Baneling speed on the way alongside +2. Silky, he might just refuse to drone from here and max out and just move out across the map with the death bull of an army. And I don't know if Firefly can defend against that. Not anymore. We'll see. We got 5 more drone kills here in the natural. Ooh, Silky heavily supply blocking. 5 Overlords. Aye, aye, aye. Not ideal here for our Zerg player. He does catch some of these Zealots, though. Can he get the Archon? Up! Gets a couple of Zealots. 8 more drones go down. Silky's all in. 8 more drones fall here to the Zealot run by forcing the all-in. That's all well and good, but I'll be honest, as Firefly is forcing Silky all-in, I don't know if Firefly can defend against the all-in. Disruptors are on the way. We need them desperately. We have 2 Disruptors being made at a time. Here come the Banelings. Here comes the push. It's all or nothing for Silky. He's down to 56 workers. He has less, or he's down over 20 workers compared to Firefly. Like, as the game goes on longer, it's worse and worse for Silky. Like, the Zerg player is on a timer, and we gotta go now. We have to go here and now. Firefly is setting up back at home, ready to receive. We have Disruptors, Stasis Traps, Shield Batteries. Our first Nova is a bit premature. We only have 1 Nova left. It's gonna go off. Oh! Decent connection. Decent connection on those Banelings. Cut down the Banelings by around a 1/3. They're going to be crashing on into those Stalkers. Good blinks here from Firefly. Falling back into the Stasis Trap. Does get baited out, though. Only connects with a handful of Lings. The Concave, though, might just be a little bit too good. We're running out of Lings. Running out of Ling Bait. The Novas are going to be going off. They connect with the Roaches and the Ravagers. Big connections there from Firefly. And it will clean up the army, clean up the Roaches. And what is there left for Silky? Almost nothing. Remember, Silky, he was all in, and the all-in has failed. With that defense, look at the supplies here. Look at the disparity in supply. The soup this time does not lie as they're pushing right through the middle of the map. And Silky, he's down to 60 workers. He's redroning. He rallies a couple of drones into the army as well. Unfortunate miss rally. And back at home, we have a handful of queens. We can transfuse each other. We can buy a little bit of time. But again, we need more than that. Need more than just queens. And honestly, Firefly, he can be a little bit more assertive. He can commit. Instead, you can see Firefly just dipping his toes in, being very safe, very careful. Takes down some tumors. Takes down a couple of tumors, rotates around, engages with some of these queens. We do have links to defend. Again, Firefly is still building up his main army, going for a Zealot run by at the same time. Catches a couple of reinforcements. Yeah, drones are going to be going down. Banelings are spent here on a handful of Zealots. It's just such a massive uphill battle here for Silky. And you can see that Firefly is about to max out. He's about to reach 200 supply. And with that maxed out army, it's going to be insane. It's going to be out of this world here. Silky trying to build himself back up. But again, this is just the situation that you find yourself in if you do go all in. That's why we call it an all in, is that you're putting everything on the line. If it fails, I mean, you just get outscaled. You just get outscaled very quickly, and that's happening right before our eyes here between Firefly and Silky. That there's just nothing else behind this. Nova's going to be going off, stoning back the army. That's what, 6 disruptors? Did I say 6? I meant to say 8. 8 disruptors. Novas are going off. Stasis trap here on the Lings. We fail the flank, and GG gets called. Firefly takes game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. And again, it was not a bad game out of Silky. He had his moments. Silky had his moments. The best moment for Silky was the moment that he was able to shut down that 4th base. It was a very like pivotal moment for him. Unfortunately, after killing the 4th, he was really struggling to maintain his economy, and that also means that his all-in is weaker. His all-in gets slowed down as he bleeds out units, because when you're all-in, yes, you don't need the highest drone count, but you need a drone count to actually maintain yourself, to actually facilitate for the all-in, and actually, you know, keep up with your production and pull it off. If you do lose too many drones, then your all-in becomes weaker and weaker, and it felt like that's what kind of happened there. On top of that, it did also feel like Silky maybe gave Firefly a little bit too much time. The Disruptors, they did play a big role in the defense. They played a big role there. We saw some big Novas going off on the Roach Ravager. The splits were not what they needed to be from Silky, and Firefly did pop off. With that, game 1 in favor of the Protoss. In favor of the Protoss. Whew. And now we're getting ready for game number 2. Game numero dos, papi. Here we go. Now, hard lead, shortest rush distance by ground. Shortest rush distance by ground, the shortest map in the map pool. We can be much more aggressive as a Zerg player. I mean, we already saw Silky attempt a 3-base all-in. What if we wound it back a little bit? What if we ramped it up in a way? Instead of a 3-base all-in, what about a 2-base all-in, papi? We'll see, we'll see. Again, a hard lead, we have seen a lot of Roach-based all-ins on hard lead. What I'm referring to is either a German taxi, or you just create a creep highway and just waddle the queens across the map. We've seen it very often on hard lead. I would not put it past Silky to have that cross his mind. Whether he whips it out, we're here to find out. We are here to find out as we're getting ready for game number 2. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of hard lead, we have Firefly for Team Offside. And in the top left, we have his opponent. We have, for the Starving Camels, Silky. Here we go. Also, yeah, big shout out to StarsWar 11, their lovely sponsors. So Team WE, Team We, if you will. Doyu, Aegon, SCBoy, and other sponsors that I'm unfamiliar with, but big shout out to them. Big shout out. Hold on, do I have a list? Ooh, I do not. I don't have a list of sponsors. But regardless, big shout out to the sponsors. Without them, this event would not be possible. A lot of people, I'm sure, are unfamiliar. They're like, StarsWar? What? 11? Did I miss like 1 through 10? What's going on? Like, we keep up with all the StarCraft. True. Apparently, this was an event back in the day, but it's been on hiatus. Or I should say, StarsWar has been a big esports event that has been going on and has not included StarCraft for a couple of years. Apparently, StarCraft was featured at this event in the past, but in recent years, StarCraft wasn't really on the ticket. Other esports are being featured instead. But here, for the 11th edition, StarCraft is back. StarCraft is back. So it's great to see the interest return here once again from the Chinese scene to bring StarCraft back into the fold for this tournament. So really great to see. For those that are curious, I believe StarsWar 11, it features more, when it comes to the offline event, it's going to be more than just StarCraft. There's going to be other esports going on, maybe some Warcraft 3, maybe some CS, or some other popular esports in China. Dota, I would imagine. If you're a little bit more familiar with the details, then let us know. Let us know in the chat, because I'm not so much. I'm just here for the StarCraft, Papi. Just here for the StarCraft. As we're getting into our hatch gas pull, Silky getting into his ling speed. Meanwhile, Gate expanded to Cybercore, standard openers so far from our players. But just because the openers are standard doesn't mean the game itself will be standard. As we saw in the last game. As we saw in game number 1. As for now, we are just going to be settling in. Oh. Is that me? Okay, we're good. Just making sure we're okay. For now, we are just going to be fanning out our units. We do have an extra pair of lings on the way once again from Silky. This is looking similar to game 1, where he did make an extra 6 lings, but I think it's only just for Adept defense. And as I say that, Adepts are about to move out, at least one of them across the map. Ooh, this is interesting. Okay, so Firefly went for another Stargate opener, not Oracle. Phoenix opener out of Firefly, very interesting. We haven't seen a Phoenix opener in quite some time. I know that Classic was very fond of it for a while, back in Masters Coliseum and even before that, but it feels like post Masters Coliseum and post IEM, Phoenix and Void Ray openers have fallen off quite a lot. The meta has shifted. I'm loving the shuffling there from Firefly, but it is going to be a Phoenix first. We're going to be able to get across the map. We're going to be able to shut down one of these Overlords, or at least force them back. And for those who are curious, the purpose of a Phoenix opener is to deny vision, is to deny scouting, is to keep the Zerg player in the dark as to what the Protoss is up to. And we can see that it's just going to be Oracles as a follow-up, but the Zerg doesn't know that until now. Oracle is revealed here to the Overlord and to the army, so we should be getting Queens ready, should be getting Spores ready. But again, it's going to be very difficult to scout the follow-up tech, whether it's a Twilight Council Forge, Twilight Council on its own, Robo first, whatever is the next tech structure from the side of Protoss is going to be difficult to get a read on here from the Zerg. And we can see it's going to be a Twilight Council and a Forge for +1. This looks like +1 Blink. It could be +1 and Charge again. I'm leaning a little bit more on the side of Blink, but we'll see. Nothing too fancy yet out of Firefly. But again, the Zerg player is unaware. Zerg player is unaware. After this series as well, I will be switching over to the YouTube stream. Currently I'm using the Twitch clean feed, but it seems to be a little bit lagging, so I will switch over to YouTube. So hopefully it is a little bit better. Fingers crossed. For now, it is going to be 4 drone kills here with the Oracles. Are going to be able to pivot away. Meanwhile, there's a lair. There's Overlord speed on the way. I am curious. So this was a lair first out of Firefly. We are taking extra gases. Yeah, we're taking 2 more gases. Okay. Part of me was like, yo, are we going to go for a Queen all-in? I'm still actually leaning on that. I'm still leaning on just massing up Roaches and Queens and going for that German taxi. We alluded to it that it's very popular on hard lead to go for a German taxi or to go for a creep highway. And there it is. Drop loads are on the way. The drop loads are for the Queens. Roach is going to be waddling around through the ground. They're just going to be heading straight across the map to the 3rd base. Silky is going for his all-in. We're cutting drones here at 52, and it's going to be on Firefly to defend. Ooh, did he see the Dropper Lord? I'm uncertain if he saw it. It looks like he gets a couple of drone kills, is backing off from there. Silky pushing right through the center. Yep, he sees! He knows exactly what's going on. 2 more shield batteries on the way. There's going to be 3 shield batteries in total at the 3rd base. We have 2 more on the way at the natural. Overcharge is going to be available, and plenty of shield batteries. And Firefly has a couple of seconds here to respond. A couple of seconds to just get ready for this, to stabilize, to prepare for the all-in. It was charged, by the way, and he does collapse on these lings ahead of time. Oh my god. He just meets the all-in head on. He catches some of these roaches. Roaches are getting caught out. Do we have a force field? We do not. Queens are force one load. Zealots are being forced back, but they killed a good chunk of roaches. Very efficient trade from Firefly. And he stops the all-in its tracks. Yeah, Silky, he backs off. Just like that. Silky has to back off. He's droning. Bailey Nest is on the way. Fourth base is on the way. Firefly, just no fear whatsoever. He sees the all-in and he just fights it in the middle of the map. And just like that, Silky, he's forced to back off. Zealots overextending a little bit here, trading with Lings. Not ideal. The Biles! Ooh, they take down an Oracle. Good pick up at the same time, but Epsay shaded to the natural base. Silky, he's distracted. His attention elsewhere. He's going to be losing 3 drones in his natural and even more in the main. Firefly, he may have thrown away his Zealots, but remember, that's just minerals. Zealots just trading out minerals here for economic damage. Getting a 6th, a 7th, and 8th drone as well. Oh my god. Firefly, calm down. 8 workers fall. Firefly in a commanding position. He's ahead in the economy. He's ahead in the tech. He's working on Blink, +2, Robo for Immortal Production. Sorry, that's a second Robo on the way, I think, for Immortal Production. I may have missed the Bay thrown down. I definitely may have missed that Robotics Bay. Oh, I did. There we go. It's double disruptor production already. So the Bay is already done. You can see just how far ahead tech-wise Firefly is. And he is going to be pushing. Meanwhile, Silky going for the Spire. I like the move of going for the Spire if we didn't just go for a failed all-in. This Spire is a bit of a Hail Mary play. It is a Hail Mary play here. It's if Firefly leaves Silky alone, then Mutas, they have potential. They can wreak havoc across the map, get a lot of economic damage done. They can do quite a lot for themselves if they go unscouted. And if we live long enough. If we do live long enough, as... yeah, we do get a couple of drone kills in the main base as well. 4 drones go down. Silky just stuck defending, stuck trying to keep up. As a reminder, his kind of win condition here is to try to get away with those mutas. But it's still a ways off. Again, Silky re-droning, droning up to 75. But really, I'm waiting for Firefly's push. Now, what's important here is that Firefly still has not scouted that Spire. He still doesn't know that mutas are going to be on the way. And looking at this army at least, I know that we have Blink, but we don't have many Blink Stalkers currently here for Firefly. Yeah, we're reinforcing with Zealots, Disruptors, and Archons. These mutas, they can pop off. And there we go, 6 mutas on the way, 8 mutas on the way. Firefly, did we wait too long? Yeah, we're just pointing out here that he failed to scout the Spire. Now, he can reactively war. Oh god, the Novus! The Disruptor drop here at the 4th. He's crazy. Gets a couple of drones. But again, I'm concerned because we can warp in Stalkers reactively. That is true. We're throwing down stack defense on the front lines, but the main and the natural are exposed, and a lot of probes can fall here to the mutas. And after dealing economic damage, we can even use the mutas to snipe Disruptors. We can use them to snipe those Disruptors, so we'll see how much value we can get as we're making our way towards the main. Silky is stabilizing. He's re-droning after losing all those workers. Mutas, they get into the main base. 1 Stalker to defend. No shield battery, no cannon. 0 stack defense here in the main base. Lings at the same time to go for a run by. Oh, Bailings, they crash into a Disruptor. Doesn't quite go off. Novas are connecting. Novas are going to be connecting. The Archons, they do respond. Looks like the Ling run by is going to be deflected. At the same time, we lose 6 probes in the main. We do snipe 1 Muta. So this could have been worse. This could have been so much more damage. We have so many Banelings. 15 Banelings on the way. But the Novas! The Novas are going to be going off. And can we connect with those Banelings? We go for the Roach Ravager instead. Yeah, the Novas are a little bit lackluster. A better Nova towards the end. Oof. Does take out a big chunk of the army. And does Silky have enough? Oh, the manual detonation! I'm pretty sure that was a manual detonation on the Banelings. So, bit of miscontrol there out of Silky. I'm pretty sure I saw the Banelings get detonated before the Nova connected. Regardless, we are pushing through. And it looks like Firefly, he still has too much. He still has far too much on the ground. I was concerned that maybe he was a little bit too passive, a little bit too defensive, but no, he's got a death bull of an army. The mutas, they cannot break through these stalkers and not through the archons. They take down the prism. They focus on some of the disruptors. We lose 22 drones in the process. And there's still too many stalkers. The mutas are being focused down one after the other. And we reset the muta count. GG gets called, and Firefly will take the series 2-0. GG. GG, well, hold on. There we go. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back again. It was merely a short break that we had here, but now we have returned with our second quarterfinals match. Here we go. We're going to be diving into Rex versus Lemon in a ZVP. The matchup continues, but with two very different players as we're getting into game one and spawning. We do have our Taiwanese Zerg player, Rex, for Team Offside. And in the bottom right, we have for Mystery Gaming, it is Lemon. So I do apologize. There we go. There we go. We do have our ZVP before us here. And if you're in the chat, predictions are open. Predictions are now open. You can place your bets on who you believe will face off against Firefly in the next round. Will it be the Zerg or the Protoss? Up to you to decide. Up to you to decide. As we have switched our streams over to a different clean feed where hopefully is a little bit more stable. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I'll give a bit of feedback here. Oh, yeah. I was like, oh, maybe it's gonna be better here over on YouTube. It's not ideal, not ideal. For those that are curious, we are casting from a clean feed. We are not in game ourselves. This is a clean feed provided by the Chinese stream, by the main stream, of course. And they do have to kind of go through a VPN. They have to, yeah, they have to go through the VPN. They have to go through a couple of different avenues to actually get us the clean feed, and not the most stable of things, unfortunately. Okay, we're good. We are good. As again, we're going to be diving into our setup here. So far, Lemon going for a gate expand into his to a Cybercore into his Stargate. Is going to be a Stargate opener out of Lemon. Meanwhile, Rex is going to be going for a hatch gas pull. Nothing crazy yet. Nothing out of the norm yet here. As we're gonna be no as we're gonna be picking up a couple of lings. Actually, hold on. I know that I can. We have the power. I was just pausing to kind of let the stream catch up a little bit, and hopefully that does help as we're getting into this. And we do see Rex getting into his own defensive link production just to be able to minimize his losses against the initial depths. Depths are going to be harassing across the map. No. They're going to be looking to harass across the map here as, yeah, it looks like this is something that happens, that would happen sometimes with Master Coliseum or Kung Fu Cup or WTL, is that we are relying on that clean feed, and hopefully it's able to maintain itself. As if they do shade across the map, but there are going to be some lings here to harass. They do manage to force it back, at least for the time being. They do fend off the adepts. And we do minimize our losses here. Rex doesn't lose a single drone. Adepts are going to be fended off. And it is going to be down to the Oracle to try to keep up here when it comes to its harassing damage, as it does zoom across. Ling's going to be punishing that third base. Oh. And it's slowing down quite a bit, actually. Hold on. Hold on, I'm gonna go back to Switch. This is rough. Hold on. We'll try to work through it. We'll try to work through it here, as we do have our Oracle harass continuing. We're gonna get a couple of drone kills. Meanwhile, the follow-up here is gonna be a little bit different. Oh, actually, quite different here. So one, we have Lings harassing across the map. The shield battery is not quite done, so we're gonna get some probe kills. Probes are gonna be going down. Brutal losses there by Lemon. He loses 3 probes in total, losing a Stalker as well. This thing run by getting far more than it should have. Ay, ay, ay. Lings, they popped off there at the third base. But what I was referring to is that the Forge for Lemon was quite late. Blink is well underway and the Forge was delayed. I wonder if that was just a slip up just because of all the harassment that was going on, or if it was a little bit more intentional. We'll keep our eye on Lemon. Regardless, +1 on Blink is going to be the follow-up. This is a very different strategy compared to what we saw from Firefly. Firefly was very aggressive with his charge lock compositions. This is a little bit more macro-oriented from Lemon. With +1 Blink Stalkers, you can harass, you can apply pressure, but you can also transition into Colossus, into a 4th base, into a longer game. So I imagine that's where we're headed. We'll keep our eye on the Protoss. Meanwhile, Oracles, they do get across the map. They're going to be threatening those gases. They get 3 drone kills for themselves before getting out of there. Meanwhile, Rex, he's rushing into an infestation pit. Interesting. So it's going to be a Ling Roach heavy composition with a fast infestation pit that gives us fast Adrenal. We could try to rush into a higher form of tech, but I imagine that's just for Adrenal and for maybe even faster Vipers. I'm curious. I'm curious what Rex has in store for us. I'm very curious here. For now, Rex is going to be droning up quite nicely on 4-base saturation, up to 76 workers. Again, you can see that this ZVP is very different to the last. Rex, he's embracing a higher drone count so much more freely compared to Silky. Silky, he would always stay on a very low drone count, 2-3 base saturation at most, and go for all-ins. Here, Rex trying to play it out macro-wise instead. Hydrogen on the way for eventually Lurker production. Lings, they try to engage. Stasis traps are going to get baited out. A couple of Stalkers do get picked off. Not quite. They do get low, but not a single Stalker goes down yet. Blinks are looking good. Yeah, Stasis traps once again going off. Rex, he is going to be able to hold on. Likewise, Lemon minimizing his losses, rotating around, getting in towards Storm. So I assumed it was going to be for eventually Colossi production, but no, it's going to be Storm, Charge Lots, and Archons. Once again, Rex engaging a bit prematurely. They're bleeding out a lot of Lings. With the death of those Lings, that's going to be the death of some of these Roaches. Oh. Rex has to be very careful here. He's on the brink here of losing some Roaches, and with that, that will kind of snowball out of control here. That's the power of Stalkers. As Lings are going down, Roaches are now getting picked off. Behind this, we're trying to rush into Lurker production. Rex, he's already got the Hydrogen. Lurker Den is on the way. Hive is on the way. Really greedy style out of Rex. His goal here is to survive. Survive long enough until he gets those Lurkers. But can he survive? So far, Lemon, losing his Observer. Did get sniped by that Bile. Blinking against the army. Blinking against the army. Likewise, Roaches taking a couple of extra losses. Stasis trap to the face. Now, what's important here is that, again, Lemon is by no means all in. Lemon, he's just trading as efficiently as possible while he gets his 4th base up and running. Takes up into Storm, into Charge, Immortal production underway. Because of that, because Lemon wasn't committing, because he was teching, that means that Rex gets away with it. That means that Rex, he survives. If Lemon had cut workers, if he had doubled down on more gateways and really been more assertive with a War Prism to reinforce, then maybe Lemon, I do think Lemon breaks Rex. I do think Lemon would have broken him, but now it's too late, and now we have lurkers. Now we have lunkers on the way. They have arrived. Storm's zoning back the army, forcing Rex back. Puts him back for a moment. Good snipe there on one of those lurkers, getting a second lurker as well. They do get that second lurker. Likewise, Storm's being thrown down, but the High Templar are exposed. Yeah, they're forced to morph into Archons. Big moment there for Rex. Did force some of those Archons, but at the same time is losing his lurkers. Lurkers go down, and he may have lost too many roaches. He may have just lost too many roaches at this point. Rex, he's vulnerable. Lemon, he's maxed out. Oh my god. And this is what this is what Lemon has been working towards. Now he's got his charge lots, his Archons, his Immortals. Doesn't have Storm anymore, unfortunately. Storm would have made this push so much easier, but you can see Lemon, and that momentum quickly swing in his favor after that fight. And this playstyle from Rex, remember, he was building up towards fast lurkers, and he lost them. Now he only has one lurker to defend. There we go, a second lurker coming in. But can we keep up? The hatchery is going to be going down. And Lemon, his supply is barely touched. His fifth base is denied, that is true. Fifth base is denied by that Ling run by. But for the most part, Lemon, he's still looking perfectly fine. It catches out the Ling towards the bottom right. The lurker count is slowly getting higher. We have 5 more lurkers on the way. That's going to be 8 lurkers in total. So June managed to snipe a couple of units here. I believe he sniped another lurker. Zealot run by headed towards the 5th. Stalker's bringing forward, taking down another lurker. Take down a lurker. As Lemon is going to be rotating around. Again, he's trying to find a way in. I mean, Lemon has been maxed for quite some time, and Rex has been able to stabilize here with his lurkers. You can see how powerful lurkers are defensively, where if you can keep up with the rotations, if you can get in position with a handful of lurkers, it's so difficult to push up a ramp and into a choke point. So as a result, Rex, he's holding, he's stabilizing. But shout out to Lemon, because Lemon, as soon as he realized that there were lurkers out, bam, Fleet Beacon, Stargate, Sky Toss is on the way. Sky Toss is on the way. That is the best answer here for lurkers, as lurkers do not shoot up, and we're investing into a lot of lurkers. Likewise, Hydras are not ideal against Sky Toss either. We need a Spire. We need Corruptors. Without a Spire, without Corruptors, then Lemon, he's going to run away with this. Lemon is still looking quite comfortable. He's on 82 workers. He's on 5 bases. His 5th was denied earlier, but now it's up and running. Rex, he's pushing through the center. Can he end this before the carriers can really hit critical mass? A couple of spine shots going off. Ooh, I think the carrier was revealed. Yeah, carriers, they have been scouted, they have been spotted. That's a lot of Immortals. Do you see Lemon rotating around? Rex trying to keep up. Is trying to keep up here. We're coming in from behind as well. Stalkers, they collapse on these lurkers, and a good chunk of them going to be going down there. There's just not enough support here for the Zerg. So many lurkers fall. Big stasis here on the Hydras. Oh, it traps a lurker. No. Traps a lurker. Gets an Overseer as well. And with that, Rex, he's in quite a bit of trouble right now. You can see that Rex is remaxing, but as a reminder, he's remaxing on Hydra Lurker. No Vipers. No Spellcasters to support. So this army is just a bit subpar. Yeah, we're going to be able to focus down those Lurkers one after the other. They're going to be going down. Big storms on the army as well. GG gets called. There's no stopping the Sky Toss, and Lemon takes game number 1. GG. GG, well played. A solid game there out of Lemon, and yeah, Rex just struggling a little bit there, having a hard time getting away with his lurker tech and responding to the sky toss as well. Like, he was already so far in, and even getting into lurkers was a difficult thing for Rex to accomplish. He kind of stumbled his way into it and wasn't really able to stabilize himself. Again, the power spike of the lurker was never really there because we already had a good enough army to deal with it. The lurkers allowed Rex to survive, but he wasn't able to really live, and he wasn't able to thrive in that game. With that, GG, Lemon takes game 1, and Lemon is looking primed to take game number 2. Can Rex fight back? I'm hoping for an ace match. I want to believe. What are you guys using VPN? So yeah, just clarifying that the clean feed is routed through a VPN to the English casters, whether it's ourselves, Rotterdam, Wardy, or the other English casters out there. But there we go. We're diving into our next game, into game number 2, and we do have Rex for offside. And in the top left, we have his opponent from the land of Taiwan, representing Mystery Gaming. It is Lemon, the Colossus. Lemon doing his best Max Pax impression here, not having a webcam, unfortunately. But Max Pax is usually portrayed as Artanis. We do see instead Lemon, he's the Colossus. Beautiful, lovely. Didn't make it Colossus last game though. Just saying, didn't make it. I'm shaking my head. Shaking my head, Lemon. What's going on? As it is gonna be a Hatchcast pool. Standard opener out of Rex is so far going to be a standard opener. Lemon, he does confirm that, of course, the hatchery has been thrown down at the unnatural location. And a big shout out to Chileno Singaporean. Oh my god, papi. Big shout out to Chileno. Gracias, papi, gracias. Thank you so much for resubscribing for 27 months. 37 months. Oh my god. Over 3 years of support. Thank you, papi. Thank you. I always appreciate it. We always appreciate the support here. Thank you, Chileno. Thank you. Without longtime supporters like Chileno, you know, we would not be here. We wouldn't be as active as we are, as committed as we are. I mean, we would be, but we appreciate it nonetheless. Thank you. Thank you, Chileno. Do appreciate it. Gah, papi, gah. I'm not quacking 37 times. Guys, just for the great cast. Oh, you're welcome, papi. You're welcome. I'm hoping for 3 more strong years to come. At least. We got you, papi. We got you. As for now, we're going to be settling in. Again, the openers, there's nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy out of them. Not yet. But again, referring to the previous game, even though Rex was kind of teching up and working towards lurkers, he was still bleeding out a lot of units, and as he was working towards lurker tech, Lemon was also teching up as well in towards Storm. In towards Storm, Archons, a heavier Immortal count, and just to reiterate, as soon as we realized that lurkers were being produced, we went straight into carrier production. And not just that, but when the lurkers first hit the field, we lost almost all of them. We lost almost all the lurkers in that center fight. It was a brutal fight for Rex, not worth it at all. And again, he was never able to really, you know, go in stride with his lurkers. Like, his lurkers were only ever used to survive and stabilize, and even then he just barely couldn't. So GG. A game that Lemon was pretty in control of in game 1, but now we're settling into game 2, and I want to believe that Rex can bounce back here. I want to believe. Give me an ace match, buddy. Give me an ace match. As the Adepts are going to be shading across the map. 2 Adepts, they one-shot drones. So far, they do get some damage done on these Lings. A nice Evo block here. Blocks off the Adepts. And with that, Rex, he minimizes his losses. 0 drone kills so far. Very nice defense out of our Zerg player. Very good defense. Very good defense against the Adepts. Meanwhile, Ling speed kicks in, and our goal here is to delay the 3rd base if at all possible. But we do get here in time. Lings are fended off, and the 3rd is thrown down without too much issue. Personally, I think 37 quacks would be tuna jam. Ah, you're an animal. There's too many quacks. It's too many quacks. I can't quack that much, Matthew. Oh. As we do see Rex applying a bit of pressure, trying to be a nuisance with these Lings. So far, not really achieving too much with them. Oracles are moving out. It's going to be a triple Oracle opener at 11. So far, very standard stuff. Oracles, their goal here is to try to pick up a couple of workers, try to catch Rex off guard. Queen so far in position. So far, Oracles are forced back. Is going to be a Twilight Council follow-up here at 11. We are going to be seeing that Twilight Council. The Forge is going to be delayed once again. If you remember, this is something that I brought up in Game 1, how the Forge was late. But this is even later here. There is no Forge. I'm curious. Lemon, what do you have planned for us here? Extra gateways on the way. This is going to be Glaives? I'm feeling... Okay, there we go. Late Forge. Just going to be a late Forge here from Lemon. I do think we could have had the room for it, so... Yeah, Forge and +1 is going to be a little bit later than we would have liked. Blink is on the way. Oracles, they get into the main base. They get a couple of drone kills, but ooh, the Oracle goes down. Big pickoff. Yeah, rough loss there for Lemon. Very nice defense, and getting a handful of drones for one Oracle, not worth it. Not worth it for Lemon at all. Meanwhile, it's still building up. Oracle gets across the map. Not quite getting too much damage done. There's still 2 Oracles being active. The third was killed. Third was killed as Lings. They do get across the map. They don't quite get to the kill in that Robo. Don't quite get the cancel. And Roach Horn is on the way. So once again, it's going to be Ling Roach from Rex. Should be Ling Bane Roach. Also on melee, well underway. So pretty standard unit composition here from Rex. We'll keep our eye on the drone counts to see if anyone cuts workers. But for now, we're saturating our bases. Ooh, that is quite a bit of a supply block there from Rex. 9 Overlords on the way. Ay, ay, ay. 10 Overlords. Oof. And yeah, the Observer is now pointing it out. A brutal supply block there from Rex. Oh my god. So many Overlords being produced. And that could have been an even larger army here. That could have been a faster or a double expand. That could have been more droning. That could have been anything. Rex running a run by. Doesn't find too much. Yeah, Lings are being shaved off. Rex hasn't droned in a while, by the way. Rex, he cut workers at 63. Ever since the supply block, he has not made a single drone. He's massing up Ling Roach. I mean, to be fair, he does need an army here to defend against the initial Stalkers. And we can see, same build at 11. He's going into +1, heading towards, I imagine, Charge thereafter, into Temple Archives, into Archons and Storm. Big stasis trap goes off. Big stasis on those Lings. Yeah, with that Rex, he can't quite engage. Another stasis trap turned down. Getting a Roach for free, almost getting a Queen. Almost. Reinforcements are getting surrounded here. Stasis trap baited out as well by Rex, and Lemon, he's stuck. He's in a really awkward position. He has to get the hell out of here. I'm bleeding out a couple of Stalkers. Expensive losses there for Lemon. A big Ling counterattack denies some of the stack defense. And Rex, we're pushing out. We're almost maxed, by the way. Rex, I mentioned before, he hasn't made a drone since the supply block. That is still the case. He has not made a single drone in quite some time. He's maxing out. It's a 3-base all-in out of Rex. It's nothing but Ling Roach. And we need Immortals. We need an army to defend. Lemon does get his 4th, but we're lacking stack defense. We're lacking shield batteries. Yeah, no shield battery at the natural. Only 1 shield battery at the 3rd. The Roaches, they're getting on top of the Stalkers. Overcharge is popped. It will help. But again, Lemon, he's being overwhelmed. Or is he? We depower the Robo. Good blink so far at 11. Reinforcements are on the way. Oracles are out of energy. Oh, again, these are expensive losses for Lemon. Yeah, bleeding out a lot of Stalkers. The shield battery was depowered. It wasn't helping. And it looks like Rex, he may have just barely done it. He may have broken the back of his opponent. Gets on top of the Robo, denies any immortal production. And again, we were taking into Storm and Archons, but we have none. Didn't have any ready for this. Yeah, probes are falling at the 3rd base. We can't quite break the natural, but we don't need to. We don't need to break that natural. As we are killing the third base, we could even go for the fourth. Oh my god, even here the Stalkers, they just can't keep up. They can't keep up, not anymore. And Rex, he's looking to force the ace match. Yeah, shuts down the third, heads towards the fourth. Again, no stack defense. So there's just nothing to protect the fourth base. Oof. Getting even more damage done. And we should be able to chase down all those probes. Some of them are surviving, but yeah, we peel off a couple of units. We're going to be able to clean them up. And the 3-base all-in from Rex, it is going to be working here. We should be forcing the ace match. I was concerned after game 1 that we may just see nothing but 2-0s tonight, but it looks like that is not going to be the case. Rex, he is back with a vengeance. Goes for the Nexus. With all those Lings, he should be able to focus it down. It's going to be close. He wants the Stalkers instead. And he will punish the Stalkers. Yeah, a lot of them get picked off. Expensive losses for Lemon. Looks like the Nexus is going to survive, though. Nexus does survive a little bit longer. Behind this, Rex has now been droning. He's finally been saturating his bases. He's getting a 5th base. Hive is on the way, +2 alongside it. Rex just backing off, calming things down, remaxing before he goes in for the kill. And again, it should be a kill here. It's going to be a miracle if Lemon somehow survives this. No shot, Papi, no shot. As we collapse in the army once again, Banelings are rolling in. They do roll in. They zone back the army. Once again, boys are being pulled, evacuating that 4th base. We collapse on top of the Archons. There's one that does finish for a second, for a moment, before being shut down. And Lemon, he's down to sub 40 workers. Overcharge does protect his natural. He's surviving. He's holding on. Trying to, at least. Once again, Rex, he ignores the bases, goes and trades with the Stalkers instead. And these are pretty worthwhile trades, especially because, like, these next side, they aren't really doing anything for Lemon. Yeah, GG gets called, the writing was on the wall, and Rex fights back, putting a point on the board. GG. GG, well played. A bit of a look of relief there from Rex. No concern that, like, can the Protoss come back from this? Can they bounce back? I should win, right? I should win. There it is. GG. GG, well played. As a reminder, Rex did go for a 3-base all-in. It was a 63 drone, massive Ling Roach all-in. Nothing but army there. And Lemon, it just took him too long to realize what was happening. Like, Lemon, he didn't know what was happening until it was too late. Remember, 0 shield batteries at the natural, only 1 shield battery and 1 pylon at the 3rd base, like minimal stack defense, and the army was caught out on the map as well. So Lemon just had a really hard time reading what Rex was doing, and by the time he realized, again, the all-in was there, the all-in was working. GG. We talk about it all the time, but scouting is paramount in StarCraft for every race. I mean, there are, you know, of course, like exceptions to the rule here and there, especially if you're the one going all in early on, sure, but again, it was on Lemon to try to figure out whether or not Rex was macroing. And now we're getting into game number 3, and I'm a little bit concerned because game 3 is Hardlet. Another smaller map. Let's go. Is going to be another smaller map, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Hardlet, we have our Red Zerg, Rex from Land of Taiwan. And in the top left, we have his opponent, also from Land of Taiwan. It is Lemon, a Protoss player. Here we go. Again, of course, Rex recently joining offside, relatively recently. He was on onside for quite some time, then he, again, pseudo-retired, and it's great to see that Rex is still being supported by his old team in some form or fashion. Not onside anymore, but offside. Really do appreciate it. Those who are curious, both Rex and Firefly are being supported by offside And I'm wondering, will we get an offside team kill, right? Like Firefly is patiently waiting for tomorrow's match, waiting for the winner of this series. Who's it gonna be? Who does he want? Does he want a team kill? Does he want to face off against Lemon in a PvP instead? Regardless, it is going to be an uphill battle. Regardless, I would say that Firefly is favored against either of these players, but I'm sure the offside boys, they want the team kill ideally. If light gives you lemon, give lemonade. Oh god. Inch to the maniac. Istan, is that you? Is that shaking my head. He does call for aid. Will you answer him? That is the question. Lemon being forced into the ace match. Can he bounce back? Will Rex run away with this? For now, hatch gas pull, unnatural, natural. Okay, now what is important about the base that Rex just took is that with this center base, you can actually launch your creep very quickly across the map and set up a creep highway. We spoke about this before, but Roach Queen based all-ins are very common and very standard on hard. I don't know if I would say standard, but they're very common on hard lead. To the point where we brought it up and Silky did it. Silky did it earlier today, like an hour ago against Firefly. It didn't work. It fell on its face. Firefly read it so well and shut it down before it could really get going. That's how that series had ended. We'll see if Rex takes the bait. Is he also feeling like sending his queens out for a walk? Curious. Basically, we're going to be keeping our eye out for an early lair. An early lair would be a tell. That's really the biggest thing that we're looking for if we do throw down a lair earlier than normal. Otherwise, should be a pretty standard game. As the creep is spreading, we are investing in an extra pair of lings. Instead of making 6, we're making 8. But okay, it's only going to be 8 lings. We're still droning up behind this. I was keeping an eye out for a ling flood, but looks not to be the case from the side of Rex. He is droning. Lings have arrived. They're going to be chasing down at least one more of those adepts. Well, they do get one. Do you manage to get one more? The lemon shades the hell out of there. Behind this is going to be a Stargate opener. Stargate into Oracle, so standard build here from the side of Lemon. There's that third base. We should be getting into multiple Oracles to scout, to harass, to get eyes on the map. As we saw last game, despite these Oracles, Lemon did have a really hard time identifying the all-in. So it isn't just about having those Oracles, it's about making use of them, being active with them. Keeping an eye on the drone counts, the mineral lines, the tech, the timings. All very important here for Lemon. For once, it wasn't me. For once, as that is the fast Roach Warren, by the way. Let's go. Oh my god, that was what, a 4-minute Roach Warren timing here by Rex. No reason to throw down a Roach Warren that early on unless you mean to use it. And this early against a Stargate opener, it's not a defensive Roach Warren, let me tell you. Should not be defensive here. Ling's going to be checking the front door. We are still droning, so we'll see if Rex does cut workers here. Earlier on, as Lings are amassing, Roach Warren is now done, and I'm keeping my eye out for Roach production. Meanwhile, behind this, once again, a delayed Forge. This does look intentional from Lemon. As Rex, he's got 2 more Overlords on the way. Yeah, he's banking Roaches. Yep, there we go. Roaches are amassing. The creep highway is set up, and we spoke about waddling those queens across the map. I believe that they're going on that walk. They're waddling, Bobby. They're waddling. Oh, they're defending back at home. Never mind. But the creep highway is set up, and we are rallying across the map. Rex is all in. 2 base all in. We're cutting workers at 44. 2 base saturation. The third is only for Larva. It's all or nothing here for Rex. And Lemon, he sees. He sees what's going on. Shield batteries are on the way. He saw the lack of saturation at the natural base. He saw the lack of drones, and he's getting ready. 1 shield battery at the natural, 2 shield batteries at the third base. We spoke about it. It is very common on hard lead to go for these all-ins, whether it's a queen walk, whether it's a German taxi, whether it's just a Ling Roach Ravager push. There it is. The queens, they're waddling out. They're waddling out. Let's go. But the problem is that Lemon knows he does bleed out an Oracle, but he is much more prepared this time. He's much more prepared here in game number 3 than he was in game 2. He's ready to receive. But is he? Can he hold? Can he defend? So far, Stay Straps are being baited out. While they shut down, or they try to shut down one of those shield batteries. More Stay Straps. Big connection there on the Lings. Yeah, big stasis on the Lings here towards the south. Instead, we divert our attention towards that natural. Queens are pushing forward. There's no creep. They can't transfuse. No transfuse available. One queen goes down. Overcharge is popped. Queens are taking a lot of hits. And again, they cannot maintain themselves. It feels like Rex is running out of steam a little bit, but the Stasis Trap does run out. And the Shield Battery Overcharge also runs out. Yeah, we're going for the third. We're going right for the third base, and we should be able to break it. As the Shield Batteries are out of energy, the army is a little bit distracted. File's going to be connecting. Oh, yeah, they take down some of those probes. Yeah, the Stalkers, they're all falling here at the natural. Sorry, at the third base. The third base is completely broken. But Lemon can back off and can try to just hold on to the natural. And he's killing all the queens. Yeah, the queens are falling one after the other. We should barely kill the Nexus. But after this snipe base, we have to take stock. Because this all-in did kill a base, but we were all-in. And the worker count is pretty similar. Worker count is pretty similar. Rex, he threw away all of his roaches, all of his ravagers, all of his queens, more importantly. That was not a cheap trade. And I want to give the edge to Lemon here. As Lemon, he weathers the storm. He survives the all-in. He was not killed. And now we're sniping overlords. There are no defensive queens. Lings are trying to engage. It looks like we may have one queen in between the bases. No, two queens in between the bases. They are coming in, but they're exposed. Yeah, this Stalker counterattack is getting so much done already. Catching 3 overlords, shaving off all these Lings. Roach Ravager is struggling. Yeah, and here come the reinforcements. Lemon, he's snowballing out of control. He gets on top of the army. Boys are being pulled. They have to be. Good target firing on that Ravager. Yeah, and the Stalker army is just too much. The all-in had to kill. Not just kill the third, but kill the Protoss, and it didn't. And with that, we dive on top of the Ravagers, one after the other. They're going to be going down. We get the queen. Oh, there's one queen left. One queen remaining. 18 drones fall. And Rex, he's in a world of hurt right now. Boys are being pulled once again. GG gets called. It's not going to be enough. And Lemon, he does it. He takes the series 2-1, advancing on to the semifinals. GG. GG, well played. Again, Lemon, this time he did identify the all-in. This time he was able, if you saw with his oracles, he noticed 0 drones at the natural base. He noticed a lack of workers. As soon as he noticed that, he rotated back around. Shield batteries on the way, extra weapons as well. And yes, he may have lost his third, which did look a little bit rough. But even though he lost the third, he traded his third base and his workers for the Roach Ravager army. He reset the army count, and that meant that Rex was vulnerable to a counterattack. He was not ready to receive another army. Rex was... And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. We are halfway through the night here at the StarsWar 11 Asia Closed Qualifier. And now it's time for all of our TVPs. And this is the first time we've seen Kingslayer on camera. Let's go. Does have the Mystery Gaming overlay behind him, has the logo, has I believe Swan there in the background as well. And yeah, great to see Kingslayer for the first time. Again, he's a bit of a newer face to the scene. He's a bit of a younger player, but he's up against a veteran, one of the best Protoss in all of China. This is not going to be an easy one. Not going to be an easy match for the young Terran. Is spawning in the bottom right hand corner. We have Cyan for Mystery Gaming, and in the top left we have the Chinese Terran. It is Kingslayer for Mystery Gaming as well. Here we go. And if you are in the chat, predictions are open. Predictions are now open. Place your bets in the chat for who you think will take this. Again, Cyan is one of the best Protoss in all of China, in all of Asia. He also actually qualified and made it to IM Katowice a month ago. Through Korean players as well. So Cyan, he's a beast in the scene. Kingslayer, as his name entails, is a bit of a Kingslayer. He has been able to pop off against some big names in the qualifiers and in years past as well, but Kingslayer is still a rising star in the Chinese region. He's still looking to improve. He's still looking to really make a name for himself. He's still yet to fully break out into the pro scene. Not completely. Predictions open. If I'm not mistaken, I think Kingslayer, he name changed, right? Let me just double check. Was he Blooming? He was... Oh, he was Eternity. Okay, he was Eternity. So, from my understanding... Yeah, from my understanding, Kingslayer, you know, he has been relatively active since, like, the COVID era of StarCraft around then. But, yeah, I'm familiar with a couple of Eternities, actually. Oh, never mind. Okay, I have to be careful. I'm looking at his Wikipedia page. His other IDs are Eternity, the same as the Taiwanese Terran player. Yeah, like in my brain, I'm like, I've casted plenty of Eternity, but that was the Taiwanese player Eternity, not the Chinese player. So I don't want to confuse them. So yeah, Kingslayer, a relatively newer face to the scene, and he has been getting some really good results. Fun fact: we cast him during the qualifiers, and Kingslayer, he embraced mech against Zerg. But now he's against Protoss, and he's going, oh my, for a third CC? Bap, he's crazy. But sorry, I was looking at Wikipedia, I look over at the production tab, I see a second CC on the way. That is a third CC before factory, by the way. This is the greediest build you can go for as a Terran player. This is a PSA. If you're a Terran player out there, if you're watching this game, don't do this on the ladder. This is not safe for ladder. This is a racks into... expand into a 3-rack setup, but before the 3 racks is we have a third CC as well. We have very little to defend early on, very little to work with. We have a Reaper, we have a handful of Marines. They're going to be vanilla Marines for quite some time. The Adept is going to be able to trade relatively well here, is being forced back. But Kingslayer, can he get away with all this greed? Can he keep it hidden? Because Cyan is still in the dark. For all Cyan knows, it could be a 3-rack setup. It could be 3 racks into a stim timing. We can see that we're getting there, but it's going to be delayed for Kingslayer because of how fast his third base is, as it's about to finish in his main. There it is. Third base is done again. It's not safe for ladder. Or save it for some of these larger maps. I was going to point out the vetoes. We saw the vetoes earlier, and Kingslayer, fun fact, he vetoed all the larger maps. I believe he vetoed Equilibrium, he vetoed Alkione as well. He got rid of all the larger maps in the map pool, which led me to believe that he wanted to avoid like a longer game against Cyan, which makes sense. It makes sense if you want to avoid like a longer macro game. We're getting into some of these smaller maps instead, like Oceanborn. You can be quite aggressive on this. We're going Concussive Shell first, by the way. Very safe follow-up here by Kingslayer. Again, it does mean that we can't be active. We can't hit a strong stim timing. We're going to be stuck at home, building up Marauders, working on a later stim timing instead. As we do catch the Adept. Ooh, and what did we see? We're checking. We didn't see much. You can see there, we only saw the 1 racks, but we have seen just continued Marine Marauder production, which is telling that it's a 3 racks related build. 3 racks related opener. Cyan being active, moving on with his Stalkers, being a little bit trigger happy there as well. Has to be careful. Third base now being landed on location, as Cyan is still working on his own third. Protoss are typically upper base, by the way. Protoss are traditionally upper base, but we do see Cyan now down in the economy, down in the base count, but he does pick up a Marauder. Very good positioning here by the Protoss. Oh, Cyan, he takes down the Reaper, shaves off Marines, shaves off Marauders. Again, good pickups here by Cyan. Good pickups overall. Chipping away at the army. This will weaken the eventual push. And Kingslayer shouldn't be moving out until he has medevacs. Starport is on the way. Reactor as well. We're going for an add-on swap into medevac production. Until then, Kingslayer is trying to defend as best he can. But you can see Cyan abusing this army. Not losing a single Stalker yet. A lot of the Stalkers are low, but they're still alive, which means they can still do as much damage as a full HP Stalker. Oh, we stim on forward and oh, we won one. We want a Stalker. We get one here towards the end. We might get a second. We do. We get a second Stalker and almost a third. As we force out another Blink, we force out another Stim though. Kingslayer being very aggressive here. Gets a couple of Stalkers before retreating. His army very battered and very bruised. But he does punish Cyan. He does punish those Blinks. Punishes the Stalkers. Behind this, we're getting into Immortal production. Working towards eventually Colossi. Again, Cyan has a comparable worker count to Kingslayer. Bearing in mind that Kingslayer has mules on top of his SCVs. So we have a comparable economy. If not a better economy for Kingslayer. And we'll see how Kingslayer can make use of this economy. As he catches the Observer, shuts it down. And so far, he's still just building up a Marine Marauder-based army. From here, we could get into Widowmine production. We can head towards a faster Ghost Academy as well, which is not unheard of, which can work quite well if we can get away with it. For now, we are going to be sprinkling in a couple of Widowmines. Outside of that, you do see Cyan poking in. Poking in, but not really getting too much more. Cyan rushing into his fourth. Now, Cyan does have map control with these Stalkers, but he barely does have that map control. Like, look at how many Marauders. Oh my, look at the insane Marauder count. We have as many, if not more, Marauders than there are Marines. Let's be real. There's like 6 or 7 Marines in this army. There we go, more reinforcing, but that's a beefy army here for Kingslayer. It's big, it's thick, it's beefy, and it's gonna hit like a truck. Armory is now on the way for eventually +2. Second eBay alongside it. I'm curious if Kingslayer is gonna throw it in a 4th. He should, considering we're thinking about +2. Yeah, there it is. 4th CC is on the way, so it's not gonna be a 3 base all in from Kingslayer. He is building up towards that next step. Likewise, rocks are being knocked down. Are being knocked down. You can see the Colossi have been revealed. We have 2 Colossi already. We're working on the 3rd. Once we get up to 3 Colossi, then we can commence Disruptor production. So Cyan is about to hit critical mass. Now, something that I'm concerned by with this build choice of Kingslayer, because of the delayed gases, because of the prioritization of Raxes, this means that this army doesn't have any Ravens. 0 Ravens here for Kingslayer just because of the build that he has chosen, and that means that he can't quite, like, he has to brute force his way through the Colossi. He cannot disable them. He cannot use Interference Matrix. That won't be an option. So it is a bold kind of play style here from Kingslayer, but again, you see how like dense the army is with all those Marauders. Like, we can tank some shots. Can tank them. Get a good mind shot here on these Zealots. Gonna be able to clean them up. Ooh, we see 2 more Robos on the way. Now, Cyan, he saw the high Marauder count. I believe this triple Robo is gonna be for triple Immortal production. Like, we could go into Disruptor. I mean, I don't think either one is a bad option here. Disruptors would be amazing against a beefy army as well. We'll see which one he goes for. If it's triple Disruptor or triple Immortal, or both. They both have their place here. Army pushing forward. We catch out some of these Marines. Kingslayer trying to split up his army. He's got the spread. He's got the concave. Zealot drop heading toward the main. It's headed for the main base. Oh, and we do have a late reaction here from Kingslayer. But oh my god! There are 3 turrets in a Viking. We shut down the Prism. We have nothing to worry about when it comes to a backstab. And Kingslayer, he can still pop off. And there it is. It is triple Disruptor production, not Immortal. Now, Nova's their high risk, high reward. They can pop off. They can annihilate an army. Or Kingslayer, if he's got the micro, he can split. He can avoid those shots. And he can pop off himself. Oh boy. Here we go. Disruptors are on the way. We have a Dark Shrine as well for some DT harass. As we're working towards a ground heavy composition for Cyan, Kingslayer is working towards a 2nd starport and a Fusion Core. Almost said Fleet Beacon. Fusion Core is on the way. What is the Fusion Core for? Not BCs, unfortunately. It is going to be for Liberators. It is for Liberator range, specifically. There's a reason why Liberator range is actually going to be nerfed in the new patch, or at least for now, they're thinking about nerfing Liberator range, just because it is a big power spike in TVP once you can get into that upgrade. Because Liberator range typically does force out Sky Toss. Speaking of forcing out Sky Toss, do you see what I see on the production tab? That is +1 air attack. Stargate is on the way. Soon to be a Fleet Beacon as well. Cyan, he's getting ready for Sky Toss. Thankfully, right? Because we're getting into Libs, Sky Toss is going to be a necessity here for Cyan if the game goes on long enough. We're like, what's a good answer for that kind of Terran army? Tempest carriers as well. They're a good way to bypass and deal with high Liberator armies and pick away at the forces on Terran. So we're in for a long one. Earlier today, with all the ZVPs, we had a lot of aggression, we had a lot of all-ins, but for the first time today, we're really sinking our teeth into a back-and-forth macro game. Let's go. More Marauders, yeah. I think Future went 4cc before Factory versus Dark. That doesn't sound unthinkable. Like, Future's an animal. That could have happened as well. That is true. That is true. I think... Who did we see do that? Spirit. Spirit did that on Radisson Station against... Was it Raynor? Spirit did that relatively recently at IM. At IM Katowice. Spirit went 4cc. Against whichever Zerg player was in his group. As I do see Ghost popping off here with some EMPs, we catch an Archon. But that's specifically for Radisson Station. Like, I feel like that it's safer to do that on a map like Radisson instead of Oceanborn. But here we go. We do see both armies clashing with each other. We're setting up for us around. Nova goes off. Force fields to throw down Novas. They will not quite connect. We saw one big connection earlier, though. As we collapse on the army. Colossi are going down. Cyan trying to go for a run, but he runs into a planetary, though. A planetary defending the natural. Let's go. Cleans up the run by. Shuts it down. A very nice trade here from Kingslayer. Again, he reset that Colossus count. And now we have more Libs on the way. But the Disruptors are still up and running. And these Vikings are a little bit dead supply. Nova! Ooh, big connection. Takes down the Ghost. Oh, no. No! Clean feed, stay with us. There we go. We have big Nova there on that Ghost. Meanwhile, Liberators are amassing. We have +3 ship weapons on the way. 4 Kingslayers making 4 Libs at a time. Meanwhile, we're still building up Disruptors. I want to favor Kingslayer's army if only he is able to make some use of these Vikings. It's hard because we don't want to throw them away because, again, remember, we're preparing for Sky Toss. Like, we have the tech to head into carrier production, and in that case, Vikings, they will have a place in this army, but not right now. Not right now as the Zealot run by runs past the planetary. Nova's going off, not quite connecting. Ooh, Liberator's going ham on the army, though. Good dodges. One Disruptor goes down. Show us the Novas. As the Zealot run by is getting some damage done, forces back some reinforcements. As going to be 8 SCV kills as the Marine Marauder does come back home. Meanwhile, on the front lines, looks like Cyan, he's gaining ground. Nova goes up. Again, a little bit lackluster. Oh, much better Nova towards the end there. We take down a Ghost. Take down a Ghost. Vikings lift. Another Nova goes off. Once again, splits up. Okay. The Novas graze the army. You can see Kingslayer plummet in supply. He has a bank, but he needs his production to really get going. Again, just some rough losses there for Kingslayer. And Cyan, he maintains his Disruptor count. Look at how many Disruptors he has. Oh my god. He's got 9 Disruptors with his army. He's always got Novas ready to go. Planetary gets shut down by the Mass DT. And this might just be too much. Yeah, you can see Kingslayers being pulled apart. We have DTs on the right-hand side. We have Novas on the left. If we get some big connections on the Marauders, we take the Novas to the face. Not like this, and now the Liberators are exposed. Again, you can see the Kingslayer, he's one step behind when it comes to reacting to the army. Cyan snowballing out of control, breaking through, gets on top of the Liberators once again. And the Purification Novas is just too much. Marauders are trying to do what they can. They focus down some of these Disruptors. Actually, quite a lot of them. Oh my god, they're all going to go down. Cyan overextending. He loses every single Disruptor. 9 of them fall. And Cyan plummets in supply. Uh-oh. Can we bring this back? Can Kingslayer still pull this off? He's all in. Look at the worker count. He has half the saturation, half the workers of Cyan. Kingslayer is completely all in. We have to keep pushing because carriers have arrived. The longer this goes on, the better it is for Cyan. We dive on top of the Liberators. They're going ham on the army. They're trying to at least. But there is still just too much. Yeah, there's just too much Protoss. We have to hold on to the ramp. And we will hold. But Kingslayer just doesn't have much of an economy left. Desperately trying to retake one of these bases. Getting back into Vikings now. Unfortunately, lost all of them earlier. We spoke about that problem where if we're a little bit too wasteful with the Vikings, then that opens up Sky Toss. Rabbi comes in. Oh, it takes down the planetary. Aye. And this was a back and forth. You know, a big shout out to Kingslayer, who went for a very greedy build, a very greedy opener. Who was able to do well with his Marauders, had a good fight outside of his fourth, if you remember, collapsing on those Colossi. But once we got into Disruptor production, we saw that Kingslayer, who was never really able to have those engagements, have the surrounds, collapse on the army. And Kingslayer, he's been stuck at home the entire time. I just realized, I don't think Kingslayer has ever harassed in this game. Like, Cyan's economy has been left completely untouched this entire game. Cyan, he's on 6 bases. He's getting a 7th. He's on 81 probes. Like, a Protoss player that's been left alone is a terrifying Protoss. Like, they're scary. Which is why Cyan, he's remaxed. And look at how many carriers we have. Sky Toss, it's here. And there is no good answer to Sky Toss. Not with what Kingslayer has. He's got a handful of Vikings, a handful of Bio. Mainly Liberators. And here it is. The Death March. The Death March has begun. Cyan, he's got a Death Bull of a Sky Toss army. And we can't dive on top of these carriers because of the Disruptors. That's all they have to do, just protect the carriers from the ground army. That's all that needs to be done. Yeah, we're slowly pushing on forward, engaging here with the Libs. Libs, they're trying to do what they can with their auto attacks, like their splash damage against the Interceptors. Ooh, Nova connects. Ooh, another big Nova on the Marauders. Good connections from Cyan. The Viking count is getting higher. Is getting higher here, but Cyan, he has maxed out. He's reached that 200 supply, working on shield upgrades as well. And instead of engaging with the main army, he's going to be rotating over towards that center base. Nova goes up. Ah! No splits out of Kingslayer. Not like this. We're being floored. Another big Nova, this time on Marines, as that's all we can afford. That's all we can make. Marines desperately amassing. Ghosts are now on the way, but it's too little too late for Ghosts. GG gets called, and Cyan will take game number 1. GG. Cyan, he's got like 10 different drinks in front of him. I don't know if you saw. Cyan, he lifted up his can. He has like an energy drink can or like a soft drink can. Lifted up for a moment, then it was like, no. Puts it back down. Fumbles around, gets his shaker. Gets his protein shaker. Let's go. He's probably got a coffee mug there. Got a glass of juice. He's got a bit of everything. Let's go. Looks like asking for a small break here, but again, Cyan, he does take game number 1 here. I will say that the early to mid game was very back and forth, and Kingslayer had his moments, but you could see that he was outscaled. You could see that he could not establish a 5th base, and once we got into disruptive production, he could never really engage and collapse on the army well enough. As the game progressed, it just got better and better there for Cyan. You did snowball out of control. GG, well played. Congratulations to Cyan. Meanwhile, we're getting ready for game number 2. As a reminder, it's a best of 3. And I want to believe that Kingslayer can bounce back. I want to believe, but again, Cyan is the favorite player. You know, he qualified for IEM Katowice through Korean players like Cyan. He's a beast in his own right. He's a terrifying opponent. But I do appreciate that, again, Kingslayer, he's a younger player. He's less experienced, but, you know, he's here for the first time. And I mentioned before, this is his first time on cans. I'm pretty sure this is his first time competing in an event like this with webcams on. So I appreciate seeing him. You know, he's full of hope. He's full of life. He's beautiful, Bob. He's beautiful. But can he fight back? Can he force the ace match? I want to believe he can. This is already a good accomplishment for Kingslayer, already making it this far. Can he go further? Can he get that cherry on top? Can he go the distance? Let's go. Let us go. Game number 2. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we do have Cyan for Mystery Gaming. And in the top left on Golden Aura, we have the Chinese Terran. Also representing Mystery Gaming, it is Kingslayer. Let's go. Let us go. Again, Golden Aura, another smaller map. I did mention that all the larger maps were vetoed. Maps like Equilibrium, Alcyone, Razor Station, of course. They were all vetoed. And hello there, Mr. SCV. Where are we going? What's going on? Our SCV on a little bit of a journey here, hugging the edge of the map, heading on over towards the center here. And it looks like we may be setting up for a bit of a proxy. It is going to be 1 Rax back at home, 1 Rax across the map. This is not a committed proxy. Don't get this twisted. This is going to be 2 Rax, 2 Rax Reaper. This should be 2 Rax Reaper. We have seen some Marauder variations, but should be Reapers here from the Terran player. The way this works is that the goal here is to get some economic damage done, get some probe kills. With the building SCV that's on that Rax, it can actually throw down a bunker as well to deny mining at the natural. So you can double down a little bit further and invest into that bunker. We'll see if Kingslayer goes that far. Ooh, as that is not a Reaper. That is a Marine. Wait, hold up. Are we going for the tech lab? No shot. No, okay, we do have a reactor back and we scout. No, we scout. We come across the racks. Not like this. Okay, it is going to be Reaper. It is going to be Reaper at a Kingslayer. Back at home, we're going for an add-on swap. So it's not really a high Reaper count. This is interesting. Kingslayer, he is getting his CC on the low ground. Is going for that. With the reactor completing, we can commit into additional Reaper production. That is true. But Cyan, he sees everything he needs to. He should be getting ready back at home. There it is. Shield battery already on the way. We're preparing for the worst. We are preparing for the worst. Probe Scout is coming in. The Probe Scout confirms as a command center, which means we know it's not Proxy Marauder. We know it's not like a committed all-in. Reaper has arrived, and again, we shouldn't lose too much. It's going to be on Cyan to micro his hard out and to minimize his losses. Does pull back with that probe. And can Kingslayer get some worker damage done here? Can he pick off some workers? Some of them getting low. Adept zones away that Reaper. There's a shield battery on the low ground, and the Reaper does 0 damage. Does scout though. Does scout our opponent, and Cyan. He's going robo. He's going for a robo opener. Okay, he's popping off here. Marines, they force back that Adept. Reaper coming back as well to try to catch it if at all possible. But a robo opener is very unorthodox. It's still Not the craziest of play styles, but with a Robo Opener, this usually would lead into a faster Robotics Bay, into faster Colossus production. As we can see, it's Robo first into a delayed Twilight Council. Very interesting. Very interesting. So a Robo Opener is usually very safe because it allows you to get into fast Immortal production and into fast Colossus. So if you believe that your opponent is going all in, a Robo Opener is just a very safe way to play. But to go Robo into Twilight Council, this looks like a War Prism? No, okay, we're still going for the fast Bay, so it is still going to be fast Colossus, which makes sense. I was just caught off guard by the fast Twilight Council because, again, that's going to be a lot of gas spent on upgrades, gas that we should be spending on Colossus. Yeah, you can see here, Cyan can't afford, okay, I was going to say he can't afford it. Okay, charge is now on the way. When we're skipping the initial Immortal, we're just skipping out on it. It's going for charge first, followed by eventually that Bay and that Colossus production, or Disruptors as well. That's also on the table. Meanwhile, we do see back at home Kingslayer getting into fast tank production. Tanks are on the way. This build, this opener follow-up, I should say, out of Kingslayer is ideal against Blink Stalkers. Blink Stalkers are announced. Observer survives. Oh. Gets out of range of the scan. There it is, Colossi are on the way. Now, there is going to be a timing. As we're building up this tank count, as I mentioned, traditionally these tanks are served to defend against Blink Stalkers and to fortify ourselves on 2 bases, but the tank count is getting higher and higher. And we're going to be able to hit a timing with Stim, and I want to say 4, maybe even 5 tanks. Most likely 4 tanks though, from Kingslayer. As I say that, he's stopping at 3. But regardless, once all these upgrades kick in, we can move out with our tanks and we can hit a pretty strong timing from the Terran side. There it is, 4th tank is now on the way. What I will say is that because of Cyan's build, and he's going into War Prison speed and Colossus drops, by the way. Nina, is that you? What's happening right now? Nina, Estrella, a very unorthodox build here, seen by some of the NA players, the NA Protoss. A Colossus drop does drop in. We swipe away, we get a couple of Marines. Ooh, we do take a tank shot to the face. We take some hull damage as well. Oh, ooh, that was a risky move from Cyan. Does take a lot of damage. But he will get into the mineral line and he is getting some SCVs. Again, that Colossus is so low. Got 1 tank, got 4 SCVs. And because of the high Colossus count early on, the Kingslayer can't push. He can't push with his bio army. It's gonna melt here against multiple Colossi. Cyan is safe at home. Protoss is safe at home. He's still dancing around with that Colossus. It's still very low, so you have to be very careful with it. As we are dropping back in. Tank shot goes off. No tank within range here at the natural, but we do force a stim out of those Marauders. Chasing back the Colossus. Yeah, the Prism's just going to get the hell out of there. Back at home, charge is done, working on 1-1. Templar Archives for Archon production. Cyan, he's looking quite solid back at home, tech-wise at least. And yeah, he's on 3 Colossi already. Now starting Immortal production. He sees the Marauder count. He knows. And Cyan, he's looking good back at home. He's up in the economy. He's up in bases. Could even start working on a 4th. Speaking of, if I'm not mistaken, I believe we have not seen a 3rd from the side of Kingslayer. And we should be soon. We have a 5th tank on the way. We did lose 1. But yeah, there's no command center from a Terran. No command center. We may just pull the boys with +1. As +1 is on the horizon. Oh, my apologies. My apologies. There was an orbital. This is a downside of a clean feed. I'm blind. I can't check the building tab. But the CC is done. The orbital's on the way. We're perfectly fine. We're good to go into the mid game. As I say that, Kingslayer. Oh, can he keep up with the rotation here? Cyan is pushing in. Tanks are repositioning, but they're unsieged. It looks like they will siege up in time though. Cyan, instead of reinforcing, he's going for a drop. He's going for a Zealot drop into the main base. He is deflected. He is denied. Vikings, they shut down the Prism. Cyan rotating around. Oh, gets an SCV. And he's going for the dive. Yeah, this is not the push we're looking for here. The concave of tanks is brutal. Zealots, they get shut down. A good defense so far out of Kingslayer. And Cyan just misjudging that position. He's rotating around once again. Fourth base now on the way for Cyan. A little bit later than we would have liked, but on the way nonetheless. He's getting that fourth. Behind this is reinforcing. No other forms of splash damage yet, as in no disruptors. Ooh, and Kingslayer is moving out. Does run into the army. Is revealed. And Marauders, they attempt to stim on forward, but the force fields are a little bit too good. They force back the army, and now we can head towards a third. Yeah, Zealots, they do rush in that direction. But Kingslayer does respond in time. Or does he? The tanks, they lag a little bit behind. Once again, good force fields. We cut off the army. And we go for the mineral line. 11 SCVs go down, but we will lose the Colossus. Or at least we should. We should, we don't. Kingslayer, unable to get on top of him, and Cyan, he saves his Colossi. He's already rebuilding one, by the way, assuming he would have lost one. Unless he did. I saw him get very low. It did get low. Cyan going for his gold. Yeah, all three Colossi, they all lived. So he was getting that fourth in preparation of one of them dying. We have two more robos behind this. Going to be triple robo production. That should be for triple disruptors, but we'll see. At the same time, Cyan slipping in. Getting into the main base. Going for a big warp in as well. Does go for the warp in. Catching reinforcements. Do we have enough to break the siege line, though? Again, that's a lot of tanks. That's a lot of tanks we're burning through, and it looks like we get a lot of shots on the main army. We do get 3 tanks in total and 12 SCVs in the main. That's what matters right now. Sure, Cyan, he may not have broken the front lines, but he gets 14 worker kills in the main base. That's a lot of damage. Is a lot of damage dealt. From here, Cyan is backing off. He still maintains his Colossus count. Meanwhile, Kingslayer stuck at home this entire time. We spoke about this in game 1, and this is what worries me most about Kingslayer's playstyle, is that there's been no drop play. There's been 0 drop harass here from Kingslayer in game 1 and in game 2. Because of that, Cyan's just taking advantage of Kingslayer. What I mean by that, specifically the gold base, right? Like the gold, it's getting up and running, and there's nothing to stop him. There was no pressure at the 4th base, no pressure at the 3rd either. And I emphasize this especially in game 2 because drop play is usually deterred by Phoenixes or Blink Stalkers. But this specifically was a robo opener, which means we have limited anti-air. We can't chase down drops with Blinks or Phoenixes the way that we otherwise would. And drop play can be quite effective in this kind of game state, but we're not getting it. We're not getting it here from Kingslayer. Instead, Kingslayer, his goal, his win condition is to win a head-on fight. It does seem like he wants to crush the main army and go for these frontal engagements. But it's not that easy and it's not that simple. And here we go. Zealots, they do harass the 4th base. They come in from behind. It looks like they can maybe get the tank. Not quite. The tank does survive. At the same time, Prism into the main. We have the picture-in-picture here from our lovely production team. 14 SCVs go down, but it can be the production as well. Cyan, his main army pushing towards that 4th. Won't quite push in. The tank line is brutal. We can hit the 3rd, though. Oh, yeah, we push in towards the 3rd base. That's going to be a kill on the orbital. A kill. Neva's going to be going off. We have disruptors. The Vikings, it looks like they will finally take down some of these Colossi. They get 1. They're going to get a 2nd Colossus as well. Archons, they try to push in, but they walk within tank range. But the damage was dealt, and Cyan, he lost a couple of key units. He lost an Archon, he lost a Colossus, but he kills 37 SCVs. Kingslayer, he's all in, and we can barely pull the boys. Good tank positioning, though. As Zealous, they collapse in the army. They shut down some of those Marines. They get on top of a tank. And a second tank as well. Ooh, just barely they don't get it. Just barely does survive. And we're going to be collapsing on this, chasing this down. And you can see Cyan just snowball out of control. The army size is just too great. He still has that one Colossus alive. Nova's going to be going off. They do connect there with the tank. And there's only one tank left, and it's over. It's out of position. It's on the right-hand side. It's out of range. And Cyan, we just keep warping in. And again, he was left alone. His economy was left untouched. GG gets called. Cyan, he does it. He takes the series 2-0, showing us why he's one of the best players in all of China. And Cyan advances on to the semifinals. GG. My condolences to Kingslayer. My condolences. But again, I do think this was a big moment for him because he's still an up-and-comer. You know, he's not a mainstay like Firefly or Cyan or Jeshi or Coffee or Olivera or even Max said in Silky. But he's still a part of this event and was able to make it this far and took down some big names to get here as well. So a big shout out to Kingslayer. As I always say, I hope that he's able to continue to improve, compete, and next time we see him, I'm sure we'll see an even stronger player. So best of luck to Kingslayer again. More of an up-and-comer in the region. Best of luck. Meanwhile, we have one series left. Congratulations to Cyan. He makes it to the semis. Who will face off against Cyan in those semifinals? One final series here. It's going to be a banger. It's going to be Coffee versus Nice. See you soon. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back again. It was a short break, but we have returned with our final matchup of the night. We have Coffee versus Nice in a TVP again. Coffee, he is one of the best, or he's top 2 Terran in the Asia region, second only to Olivera, and we've even seen Coffee take maps of Olivera in the past. So he's an amazing player in his own right. He's a legend as well, known for his own innovative playstyle, known for coming up with his own builds, and at times he's had his own builds hit the mainstream and be adopted by some of the other Koreans and international players as well. So Coffee, a very, very high player, but he's up against Nice, the best player in all of Taiwan. The best player in all of Taiwan. And again, when it comes to Nice, he is, I would say, pretty comparable in skill to Firefly. I think I would rate him a little bit higher than Jeshi and Cyan. Nice is one of the best Protoss in this entire region, in the Asia region. So this is going to be a brutal one. Funada, the admins, like the seeding of this tournament is crazy. To have Coffee and Nice, arguably like top 2 Terran and top 2 Protoss in the region, face off against each other like this in the first round. It's crazy. Absolutely insane. It's brutal that we're going to lose one of these players already at this stage of the tournament, at this stage of the qualifier. It's heartbreaking, but I wish them the best. Do wish them the best as we are getting ready for those predictions. Meanwhile, we have our maps of choice. Oh my god, he's losing it. What's happening right now? Is he having like an interview? Are they talking to him? Oh my god. Mate, the giggles, they've slipped in. Regardless, great to see Coffee here once again. Coffee did retire last year for a while. He retired for a couple of months when he left Invictus Gaming, and then after a couple of months, you know, he tried to get away, but we dragged him back in. He was able to find himself a new team, was able to get the support he was looking for, and able to get back into that, or get back on that horse and get back into that pro gaming lifestyle here. And yeah, he's very much so stabilized and settled as a top 2 Terran in the region. But here we go, we're getting into game number 1 on Oceanborn. And in the top left hand corner we have Coffee for Mystery Gaming, and in the bottom right we have as opponent, we have the Taiwanese Protoss Nice for Team Little Fairy. And if you are in the chat, predictions, the Gamba is open. Oh wait, oh no, wait, it's soon to be open. Sorry, I need a couple of seconds. Give me a couple of seconds here. There we go. If you're in the chat, predictions are open. You can place your bets and get your gamba going on who you believe is going to advance on first into the semifinals. Predictions open. Best of luck. As this is not going to be an easy one. I feel like this is the hardest match to predict for. I feel like in the previous matches, there were some favorite players. Actually, I would say Rex and Lemon was pretty up in the air. But Cyan was the favorite player against Kingslayer. Firefly was favored against Silky. Here, I don't know who I want to favor. I'll be honest. I think they're two amazing players, and I want an ace match. I hope we can go the distance and go for a game 3. I hope at least. Fingers crossed. Just catching up in the chat. Terran or Zerg in this region, so Trisha Pro also better chances just like Lemon. Kinda true, kinda true. I would say that in the Asia region, Zerg is very underrepresented. There aren't many Zerg players that are here. Like, there's Silky and Rex, but I mean, they both just got knocked out. It's mainly about the Protoss and Terran. Like, when we think of the best players in the region, we think of Firefly, we think of Coffee, we think of Oliveira, we think of Nice, Cyan, Jeshi. They're the more dominant forces in the region. That have been for quite some time. Did we finally find Geralt's missing mustache? Looked like it landed on Nice's face. Oh, we found. Did we find it? I think maybe we found like a third of it, or maybe like a quarter. I don't know if I would say that we found Geralt's mustache, because mate, that was a lot of hair. Like, that was quite a mustache that Geralt was flexing and flaunting. We found some of it. Here we go. We're selling into game 1. So far, it is gonna be our tech of choice, a Stargate opener here from Nice. We're gonna be opening up Stargate. Reaper does slip into the main base, and we already scout the tech, by the way. Nice, out of position, and the Stargate has been spotted. Big moment there for Coffee as the Stalker has to rotate back around. Behind this, we're getting into our 1-1-1 setup. Coffee getting in towards his Cyclone production, and I imagine we could, if we go for a second Cyclone, head into a Cyclone drop. Cyclone drops were quite trendy in December and January, like pre-IEM. Cyclone drops have since fallen off and out of favor, so I'm curious what Coffee wants to dive into. What will he indulge himself in? As we have the Reaper trying to chase down the Adept, and the Adept, is it going to go down? It does! Oh my god, the Reaper does avoid the shot, does back off in time, takes out a probe as well. Very nice trades here by Coffee, very nice control. But here comes the Cyclone, we zone away the Oracle. Remember, it was a Stargate opener, but no Phoenixes. Stargate opener into Oracle, into a fast Robo. Interesting. So, we're not investing into Phoenixes. We have very little map control from the side of Nice. This is really shaky, really shaky build. The reason why I say this, from the side of Nice, there's no Phoenixes, there's no Blink Stalkers, there's no secure way to gain map control and to shut down drops. He has nothing that shoots up. And with a Robo follow-up, are we going for a War Prism first? Are we going to be aggressive with 4 gateways? Like, I'm really trying to pay attention to Nice here, and he's going into fast Colossi. This is so risky. It's so risky to rush into fast Colossi without Phoenixes or Blink Stalkers, but he's going for it. He's cutting a lot of corners. At the same time, we spoke about the Cyclone drop and how it's fallen out of favor, but it has not fallen out of favor for Coffee. As the drop is coming in, Immortal's on the way, but it just now started, and probes are going to be going down. Oh, do you have the shield battery, though? Does maintain those workers. Does maintain the mineral line. Drop going to be forced out. Heading towards the natural. Oh, the Oracle may actually run into the Cyclones. Not like this. Oh. As we get the revelation off, the Oracle survives, and Coffee is moving out with the rest of his army. A very early push here. Again, Coffee, he identified no Phoenixes. He identified the Bay, the Colossus production. He knows how vulnerable Nice is. Nice has 1 Immortal and soon to be 1 Void Ray to defend. Can Coffee break him? Can he be broken? For now, we're going to be engaging with the army. We do catch the tank on siege. We're going for the lib. Liberator is going to barely be going down. The army here is so low, but nice. He barely holds on. With barely anything, he's got 1 Void Ray, 1 Immortal, 2 Stalkers, and he does survive. Does hold. Yes, from here we're going to be able to focus down on another one of those tanks. We bleed out the Immortal. Nice overextending. Does overextend quite heavily there. Now he's backing off, and now we're getting into Colossus production and Phoenixes. Nice, he's getting into a pretty well-rounded army, but he's getting there. He's not there yet. He's trying to stabilize with something that makes a little bit more sense. Coffee backs off. Now he gets his 3rd CC. His 3rd CC not too late, is what I should say. Not too late here, especially in comparison to the 3rd base of Nice. As the game from here is going to be calming down. We're going to be calming things down a little bit. And with that, we're going to be just building up that tank count. Likewise, Colossus are underway. We should be refining this army with charge lots. Usually we don't go Blink Stalkers plus Phoenixes. It's one or the other, as they both serve the same purpose and the same role. Nice, going to be settling in. He's being a little bit active with his army, and it looks like he may come across the drop. And he does. Does come across it, does force it back. Forcing the unload even, but it looks like the medevac will go down. Big pick off. Once again, have we overextended? The Phoenix is getting low. Trading out a medevac for a Phoenix. Not the best trade from Nice, but it does deter drop play, and it does mean that you can have a little bit more breathing room. Yeah, Coffee. He's like, how did you know I was moving out? Ah, the Observer. Scans, gets the Observer. Good snipe there from Coffee. Good game sense from the Terran. Moving out with the double drop. This time at Nice, he's not as aware as to where the drop is, as he lost the Observer. So the drop is missed. Ooh, and Coffee going straight for that natural. He's going straight for the natural base. He bypasses the Phoenix's risky move, but it pays off. We do see recall on the Colossi. We force back the army. At the same time, Coffee harassing with his Cyclones. It's going to pick off a Zealot. It's 1 Zealot for himself. Ooh, as the the Cyclone is going to be shut down. Meanwhile, again, this is really unorthodox play from Nice. He's on 2 Colossi, right? Unless he's on 3, he's going for a very fast Disruptor production. First Disruptor already on the way for Nice. High risk, high reward. We'll see if he can get away with it here. Meanwhile, Coffee's still being very active. Again, there's very limited anti-air to stop him. There's only a handful of Phoenixes, only 4, and 2 of them are low. So this is risky to go for, but specifically because of Nice's unit composition and because of the game so far, like he has been able to be quite active. Jesus, that's a lot of tanks. It's a lot of tanks for Coffee. Working towards Ghosts. We are making 3 Ghosts at a time. Vikings are being produced as well. Coffee's Death Ball of an army is insanely strong. And Nice needs to buy time, to be honest. He needs his opponent to slow down the push, and he needs Coffee to turn back around when he does move out. Nice is setting up for a Zealot run by. Here we go. The army is pushing. Observer does spot it, and here come the Zealots. They're on the way. And again, Nice needs the forces to turn around. Otherwise, it's going to be a difficult defense. Yeah, Zealots are coming in. There is a bunker. We don't turn around. We commit. Never goes off. The connection. Big connection of the army. No splits there. Delayed reaction out of Coffee. Distracted by the Zealots. SCVs are going down. We do have another Nova. The picture-in-picture. SCVs are falling. Bunker is being repaired. We do have the overcharge, but it looks like we get a kill on the 4th base. This isn't just the 4th. This is also the 5th. Yeah, both Nexi going down. Now, Nice, he does save most of his probes, but did lose the bases. Meanwhile, across the map, the Zealot runway is being cleaned up. You can see how heavy this tank count is. Nice cannot engage. Yeah, forced to recall back home. Nice just trying to pick away at the main army. Nova going off once again. This time we do pull back. Tank slowly pushing forward. We catch a Disruptor. Unfortunate pathing there from Nice. Throws away Disruptor. Another Nova goes off. The splits. Takes down a Ghost. Gets 2. Very nice pickoffs there from Nice. That was unintentional. A good pickoffs from Nice. But here comes the rest of the army. Again, the tank count is too high. We have Liberators as well, and Nice, he just cannot engage. We cannot push into this. It's not going to happen. He has to give up on another base. And Coffee is snowballing out of control. Because he takes down the 5th, the 4th, the 3rd, and now he's pushing towards the natural. And how can he be stopped? We have some good Novas. We take down every single Colossi. The tank shots are insane. We force the overcharge. There's barely anything to defend. Big EMP on the army. GG gets called as Coffee snowballs out of control and takes game number 1. GG. GG, well played. A solid game there out of Coffee. A really shaky start from Nice. Remember, Nice, the early game is so important. Like, I feel like we need to put some emphasis, a lot of emphasis. We try to put emphasis on it just because early game aggression and early game pickoffs can be huge, and they just set the tone for the entire game. But in the early game, if you remember, Nice opened Stargate into Oracle, straight into Robo, straight into base, straight into Colossus production. Like, it was so greedy. He had no map control, no Blink Stalkers, no Phoenixes whatsoever, which is why Coffee was able to be as aggressive as he was. And even when Nice was starting to invest into some Phoenixes, it did not stop Coffee from dropping. He was still very active with his drops, with his overall pressure and aggression, and he was getting a lot of value. He was getting a lot of pickoffs there. Whether it was economic damage, getting Phoenixes, picking off a couple of Stalkers here and there. Just a very aggressive style out of Coffee. And that also forced Nice to lay his 3rd. His 3rd was late as a result. And that's why Coffee had the better economy, had the better saturation, and led into a terrifying push with those at like 5 or 6 tanks, Libs, Ghosts. It was just an army that Nice could not contend with. Like, he had just kind of, he had kind of stumbled his way into the mid game instead of taking it in stride. It was a very shaky, messy early game out of Nice, and hopefully we can tighten things up. Hopefully we can tighten things up here as we get into game number 2. I feel like game 1 is a really good like litmus test, or it's like a really good way to scout Coffee's playstyle, because Coffee was very aggressive, as he usually is, and it shows us that like we can't afford to cut corners early on, or it's unwise to do so. And here we go, spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have the Chinese Terran player, Coffee, for Mystery Gaming. And in the top left, we have his opponent, we have the Taiwanese Protoss for Little Fairy. It is Nice. Here we go. Frozen Cam, exclamation mark, Frozen in the chat. Frozen, Papi. For those that are maybe tuning in for the first time, I've been traveling. I traveled to Poland for IEM Katowice, and because I traveled to Poland, I did not take my cam. So I'm actually streaming from a laptop. I don't have my usual setup here that I would at home. So because I'm traveling, don't have the ideal setup. I don't have a webcam, so it's not a frozen cam. It's a screenshot, Papi. It's a screenshot. Ay, ay, ay. You're an animal. But I am returning to Australia. I'm returning to Australia next week, so you'll see my lovely reactions and face live then and there next week. Gonna be coming back, which will bring back our webcam. That's all good. Coming back next week. But here we go. We're getting into game number 2, and so far we do have a Rex expand here from Coffee, economic opener from our Terran player, likewise a standard opener out of our Protoss. It is going to be a CC on the low ground for our blue Terran as we are settling on in. Here we go. We'll see how our players do adjust here. I expect a much more standard opener out of Nice. I expected something like a Twilight Council into Blink, or if we go Stargate into Phoenixes. On a smaller map like Golden Aura, I feel like a Twilight Council opener is more warranted. As I say that, I'm going to have to eat my words because Nice is going for a Stargate opener 2 games in a row. There it is. Stargate thrown down by the Protoss. Now, I would imagine we're not going for the same build. Even though the opener is the same, the build of choice, I'm sure we're going to be adjusting. We'll keep an eye out here for Nice if he goes for an Oracle again, or if he goes for Phoenixes. I'm hoping for the Phoenixes. Meanwhile, Coffee is just settling himself in, getting into his natural, working towards his second Rax and his factory. Very important to take note of this is that the starport is delayed. Coffee is going for a second Rax a lot faster. He could even throw down a third Rax before starport, and that is a little bit telling of aggression and borderline 2-base all-in. We have seen 2-base all-ins transition out of that, or from that. And there it is, a third Rax. Okay, so Coffee is setting up a 3. He's setting up for a 3-1-1. It is 3 Raxes, 1 factory, and 1 delayed starport. So we're not going to be able to go for earlier drop play like Widowmine drops or Cyclone drops. The starport is delayed because we're building up and focusing on building up marine production and of course just a ground army. And then we hit a timing with the Medivacs. Medivacs will soon be upon us. Now with this opener of Coffee, we have seen players pull the boys with this. We have seen players just pull the boys and go for a 2-base all-in. We'll see if Coffee does that as well, or if he just goes for a 2-base push and expands behind it, which is still viable. Still very much so viable here for Coffee. Regardless, it's going to be an aggressive build. Meanwhile, Reaper slips in. We get eyes on everything. We see the Stargate, the Twilight Council. The Robo has been thrown down, and I think, yep, that's going to be scattered as well at the natural. The Reaper sees everything. And it's a very similar build from game 1. So Nice is going Oracle first, but instead of going Oracle into Fast Colossus, it's Oracle into Charge Lots, then into delayed Robo production, which is safer, is what I will say. It's safer here from Nice. So Oracle into Charge Lots, which means he will have an army to work with. Third base is on the way. That's going to be the target of this push, depending on whether or not Coffee pulls the boys. Like, this push can either just move out and deny the third, or we could go for the throat and try to push into the natural. Stim and combat shields are on the way. Again, we're just waiting for those upgrades to really kick in. By now, we should have seen a starport. I don't see the starport. Okay, but there's an eBay. Okay, we do have an eBay on the way. That is going to be for upgrades. We're going for a longer game. But this is an interesting variation from Coffee. Now, the move out is spotted. The Oracle does spot the move out. But we're not pushing with Medivacs. The starport still hasn't even started. Instead, we're going for a heavier tank count. Again, this is a little bit more committed here as we're pushing across the map. Did we pull the boys? I think we did. Show us. What's behind this? Yeah, the boys, they have been pulled. We spoke about this. There are 2-base all-in variations. When I saw the eBay, I thought it wasn't the 2-base all-in. But nah, the eBay is just for show. The boys are here. We're pushing towards the natural. We're looking to kill Nice. We're looking to end him. Now, we didn't pull all the SCVs. Only a handful of them. Bunkers are on the way. They're being focused down. Bunkers are being focused down. Stim is done. We haven't used it yet. We're waiting out the overcharge. We're waiting it out. And it will run out here. We do have 2 Immortals. We have a lot of... Well, we have so many Zealots. The Stasis doesn't finish. Tanks, they're going ham on the Marauders. Zealots, they're melting against the Marines. And we're stimming on forward. We break through the defensive line. We get on top of the Immortal. And does Coffee have enough to break through? It looks like he should get the third. Nice, he's desperately trying to hold on, but the Immortal, no! The Immortal goes down, which means we may not just get the third. We could push into the natural. Uh-oh. We can keep going. The third base has fallen. Behind this, now we have the starport on the way for Coffee. Nice, he's avoiding the army. He knows he can't fight. He cannot fight, not anymore. Avoids the army, goes for a counterattack. Hoping to catch some reinforcements. Gateways are falling. We do catch a couple of Marines and Marauders. We do catch a couple of reinforcements. Overcharge is popped once again. Boys are being pulled to repair. And they will keep this bunker alive. But again, these zealots are being cleaned up. The tanks, they still stand strong. One tank goes down. We still have 2 left, which means we can get within range of that natural. But because the reinforcements were slowed down, Coffee backs up. He retreats. So, nice holds. Nice, he does hold, but he's down in workers. Plus down in mules. He has 2 immortals. He's trying to chase down these tanks. It looks like he will get one of them. Oh, gets a tank. Gets 1 tank. Coffee, he punishes some of those else, but that was worth it for Nice. As the game is going to settle from here. We're going to be settling from here. Coffee, he did do enough damage to make it more than worth it. So he's, I would say, in a better position. He's working on +1. We spoke about that eBay. But his 3rd base is very late. We do need a 3rd. As one thing I will say here about Coffee. Meanwhile, Nice, he's rebuilding his own 3rd on location. I'm curious. Coffee has the option right now. He could just go for a second 2-base all-in. Like, unironically, because it's only 1 eBay, he could go for a +1 timing. But this time with Medivacs. He's rebuilding his tank count. He could pull the boys for a second time. That is on the table. That is in the cards. And the longer this goes on without a 3rd CC, the more I believe in it. Oh boy. We're getting a couple of lag spikes here and there with the clean feed, unfortunately. But there it is. 3rd CC is now on the way. It is quite delayed, but it's on the way nonetheless. So Coffee, he's not going for a second all-in. He is going to be looking to go for a longer game. Likewise, Nice setting up his own 3rd, rushing towards Storm. Ooh, and can the Prism survive? We're going to try and chase this down. We're trying to punish that Immortal drop. It looks like it will not be punished. Nice, he gets away with both Immortals. Whew. Again, scary moment there for Nice. Again, I do apologize for the lag spikes here. Again, we are casting from a clean feed, and the clean feed is not the most stable of setups, unfortunately. So at times there are lag spikes. For the most part, this broadcast, it's been pretty stable. It's been pretty clean. But that clean feed, it's becoming a little bit dirty here. As here we go, we're going for our own push. We have 2 Immortals, we have a mass amount of Zealots. But we are pushing into a very entrenched position. Nice! I don't know if we can really pull this off, but here come the Storms! Big Storms on the army. Oh my god, on the Marines and Marauders. But is it still enough though? Boys are being pulled. There's still 1 tank in the back line. It's being focused down by the Marauders. The tank does fall. We're going for another warp in. Up! And is it going to finish? It does! But it looks like we hold. Coffee, he cleans up the army, shuts down both Immortals. Oh, and we almost rally into the Terran. Yeah, Coffee holds. He has a better economy. He's going for a counterattack. Nice. He's in some trouble. There were some good storms, is what I will say. There were some very nice storms on the bio army of Coffee, but the tank volleys were brutal, and the Immortals, it took them a little bit too long to get on top of those tanks. No shield battery, no overcharge. Yeah, there's very little tech defense here at the 3rd base. The shield battery is halfway done. We just need to buy a little bit more time. At the same time, though, Nice going for a warp in into the main. He's crazy. He's desperate. Nice, he's desperate for damage. Warping into the main. Can't be the production. We're going for the Nexus. Oh my god. We almost do get it. We do have the picture-in-picture. Second warp in into the natural. The Immortal barely does survive as well. Nice, he's getting damage done. He's trading well, and he defends back at home. Mind Shield's going to be going off. You can see the main base in a lot of chaos here for Coffee. Yeah, good micro so far to Nice. Juggling those units. Getting as much value as he can out of them. But he has to unsiege soon. If he's not too careful, he may lose the Prism. Oh, the Immortal! The Immortal does go, and wait, if we dive on top of the Prism, it does fall as well. Nice, he overextends. Oh my god, does force some friendly fire towards the end. Brutal friendly fire there. Nice, just rallying everything across the map. Again, he's just throwing everything against the wall, trying to see what sticks. But Coffee still has the better economy. He's going for his own Widowmine drop as well. Sending it across the map. Nice, trying to prepare. Working on Phoenixes. Blink just finished. Link is done, so now Nice can have a more well-rounded army. Widow Mines are burrowing, and so far we're getting a handful of probes. Oh! Only 3. 3 probes go down. We have another mine drop going towards the natural. And is Nice paying attention? Ooh, Medevac rallies in. Nice, he does react in time. And so far only losing 1 worker for each Widow Mine. This is still quite annoying though, and quite... No, we come back too soon! Oh my god. Jesus. Nice, calm down. Does take 1 extra shot there. 5 probe kills. 1 Widow Mine is still alive there though. It's still up and running in that natural. It looks like it might get another shot off. Meanwhile, do we have a storm? Do we have a storm available? That mine shot, it will pop off for a second time. Thankfully, it's not the most saturated mineral line. Not the most saturated. As Widow Mines, they're waddling into the mineral line here at the 3rd. Very adventurous. They don't quite go off. There were cannons in position, so the Widow Mine run by was deterred. Coffee forced to back up, forced to come back home. Ooh, and the game is gonna settle from here, at least for a moment. Now, even though Coffee has a supply lead, even though I want to favor Coffee overall, I mean, he's got 1-1, he's working on +2 upgrades, he's working on Ghost for EMPs. Nice has potential, specifically with Storm. He has 4 High Templar, each with at least 1 Storm. And he can still catch out the army of Coffee, and even being down in supply, he can still win a fight. But he also has to avoid EMPs. That's the scary thing right now, is that his hopes and dreams lie in these High Templar, and if they get EMP'd or if they get sniped, then it's going to be over. There we go. We are pushing in EMPs on the Zealots. So far, good position from Coffee. High Templar pushing forward. They do get EMP'd. 2 of them do. There's 2 High Templar left. Another EMP connects. There's 1 High Templar left with energy. Do we get a storm? We get 1. Yeah, we got another storm here. Does zone back the army of Coffee, but the EMPs were solid. We pick up the main. We landed as the 4th. Zealot run-bys, they don't achieve too much. And Coffee is looking strong. He is looking good right now. Nice. It looks like he has a storm available. He has 1, maybe 2. Maybe 2 storms. EMP connects though. Ay, ay, ay. These EMPs have been brutal. Zealot run-by does hit the 3rd. Try to hit the 3rd base, but it should be cleaned up. Yeah, we're flanking the army. We're collapsing on this from both ends. Storm is not good enough. Not anymore. GG gets called as Nice gets surrounded. And Coffee will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the next round. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Coffee, as he does take it. A solid series here from our Chinese Terran player. And a really unorthodox playstyle from Nice. To wind it back a little bit, even here in game number 2, I'm really not fond of Stargate openers where you don't commit. In game 1, it was a Stargate opener, Oracle into Fast Colossus. In game 2, it was Stargate opener, Oracle into Charge Lots, right? And we had no Phoenix production there. It was, and because of that, it feels like the Stargate opener is slowing down Nice more than anything. There's a reason why players don't do it. It's very inefficient. That's the word I'm looking for. It's a very inefficient build from Nice, and I think it's designed to catch your opponent off guard, but Coffee, he was unfazed. And the builds of choice and the openers specifically of Nice, it felt like they were hurting him more than they were helping him. In general, they were hurting him more, and they were setting him behind early on, and Coffee, because of Coffee's aggression, he was punishing him so much. Punishing him so much every single time. GG, well played. We have our top 4. Firefly, Lemon, Cyan, and Coffee. We have our top 4 players. Oh my god. The whoops. We have our top 4 players, and they're going to be duking it out tomorrow. They're going to be duking it out tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be the semifinals, where we determine who makes it to the grand finals and who qualifies through the Asia Closed Qualifier of StarsWar 11. GG, well played. So yeah, we're gonna be back tomorrow. Tomorrow is gonna be the continuation of this. Not just that, but tomorrow we're going to be live with some other events as well. Let me just quickly double check our calendar. But tomorrow is not just the semifinals of the StarsWar 11 Asia Closed Qualifier. It is also KSL. If you're out there, if you're interested in some Korean StarCraft, then we're going to be live in less than 24 hours with the Korean StarCraft League. Korean StarCraft League, it is your weekly dose, your bi-weekly dose of Korean StarCraft. That is going to be in like 21 hours time, around 21 hours time. So yeah, if you're interested, we got you covered there with some Korean StarCraft League action. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you so much for the support. We do appreciate it. And we're going to be focusing here on the StarsWar 11 qualifiers for the foreseeable month, for the next couple of weeks, when it comes to the Asia region, the Korean region, and the European and Americas region as well. So again, we're going to be live here every single day, as we always are. I hope you guys enjoyed the cast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Overall, I do apologize for some of the stuttering that was happening during the clean feed. It was out of our control, though. Unfortunately, it was out of our control. We can't really do much about that, unfortunately. So, do apologize. But overall, you know, it was watchable, I hope. And hope you guys enjoyed it in the end. GG. GG, well played. Oh. Hold on, what's happening in the chat? Oh, I see some of the Korean betters coming out. Oh, they're clowns, Papi, they're clowns. Shaking my head. Let me just double check some of these guys as well. Oh, good. But yeah, with that, I hope you all enjoyed yourselves, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for some KSL and for some more StarsWar action. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, hasta luego. You can follow us on all our socials. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Discord. ! Socials in the chat for links to all of that. We're also live on our YouTube channel. Again, we're streaming both here on YouTube and Twitch, so you can check us there if you're interested. We do upload on a daily basis with plenty of YouTube content. Otherwise, gracias everyone, gracias. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, hasta luego. Ciao, papi, ciao. Hasta luego. Bye.